Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? Good afternoon. How are you? You know what today is?
Hump day.
Yeah, it's hump day. Thanks, Brock. What are you doing? Pay attention to me. You've one thing to do. We have a shtick. Right in that moment, you had one thing to do. And he's like, I wonder how many of my mugs we've sold.
That's not what that is not. Wow. Dude, it's such a shame that she starts the show with fake news.
So I think Jolene and I all along thought that if we're going to do mugs, we should everybody's going to want one of each. I would imagine you would. You'd want the set.
I wouldn't.
Though I can imagine why you would say, I don't think people would want my mug. But you were saying you didn't think people would just buy your mug individually. You just didn't think they would buy your mug along with my mug. Right?
I didn't think they'd buy either.
Well, we are a team deal. That makes me very happy. So we're going to sell out of his mugs today. We'll sell out of them.
If you do go, I think I figured out.
And Jolene, I know you're watching, so we'll have to figure out what the turnaround time is. We'll keep an eye on it. See how it goes.
I think I figured important things. I think I figured out the app this morning.
Okay.
I have not had a chance to fix said app and then resend it to the app store. So I'm hopefully going to fix it when I go home today and then put it in the app store, but that's on them how fast that all goes through. So
Understood. We've had a lot of frustration. Have anybody out there, do you just feel like everything you're trying to do and you're just bumping into walls and whatnot?
Yeah, that's because you're supposed to use a different window. Sometimes the door doesn't work. So you crawl through a window. It all works out in the end. As long as you do the right thing.
I swear to God, I'll throw you down the stairs.
All works out.
Really? Are you going to start painting happy little trees for me now too? You're never the inspirational talk giver to her.
No, listen, none of this was supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
None of this was supposed to work. Period.
Why not? See, that's what I always say. Why not?
But that's the thing. You have that mentality with this. But the fact of the matter is no one else is doing it on their own. No one else.
So does that just make it necessarily more aggravating when things don't go perfectly well?
Yes.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have backers and other people. There's literally the two of us. At no point should this be as smooth, even though we don't think sometimes it is, as it is.
I look at the leaderboard and all of these people and the various things that they talk about and their various different kinds of content. And it's really cool. It's really cool to be in this space with you guys. And I really do care about you. I think that's the whole gripe I have right now, because I just don't think we feel really cared about. Not only do you not feel cared about, you feel ignored. And I think that's one of the most torturous things as a human, as probably anything in the animal world, is to be ignored. I think that's the worst part.
And let me say this. Yes. Are there podcasters out there doing it on their own? Of course there are. I mean, in our space where there's a radio show on top of a podcast, a live stream, that's where the technical stuff comes through, where it's not supposed to work. The deck is stacked. Let's put it that way.
Before we get started, I want to talk to you quickly about Ireland contracting. I see guys out in the neighborhood now, and they're climbing back on the rooftops. Some of the ice and snow is melted. They're putting in people's windows. They're measuring for siding. They're doing all of these things. that isn't it great to get some of these projects off of your to-do list before spring when things get like blah, blah, blah. So if you are in Southwestern land before time, one of the good things about that is that means Ireland Contracting, Gary and Diane and their whole crew are probably in your zip code to come over to your house and see if there's a home exterior project they can help you with. Roofing, siding, windows, soffit, fascia, gutters, downspouts, all of it, they do it. And their son, Dan, is an electrician who comes into the house and will do electrical work for you there as well. He's great. They are. You can believe in them. You can trust them. I do, and they've never let me down. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. You won't be disappointed. And thanks for being here. Super duper. Yeah, I'm annoyed today. I'm annoyed today. I will tell you I am annoyed today. And it has nothing to do with you, but it's just this whole vibe. Feels like we're going nowhere fast in this world, and I'm getting annoyed.
When I get a phone call on the way into work, that's how you know she's annoyed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful and frigid fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Delighted to share common sense, conservative values that just never seem like a heavy lift, right? There's nothing that happens here where you're like, get out. That's so off the wall. It's just everything that makes reasonable sense to you. And if you're out there looking around saying, where is everybody else? I feel the same way. We're going to talk about that today. WendyBellRadio.com. It's the easiest way to find us and join in the live video stream. Join in our family in the live chat. If you're listening to us on the radio across America, thank you. I hope you come on back again and again. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, I realize that I am just one person, one small blip on the map of billions and billions of people. And I don't think I talk about anything that's terribly revolutionary here. I believe we tell the truth. And because of that, we are an unusual place. I tell you every day, the one thing I will not do is lie to you. I won't. And it shouldn't be too much to ask of that in return, specifically from people that we trust with very important positions. And everything is inside out. And it's been so inside out for so long. And I admit I was asleep at the wheel for many, many, many years, that it's almost become the new normal, right? You kind of learn how to compensate for that leg that hurts. And so all of a sudden you start limping around and then you're like, ow, my back hurts now, right? I'm tired of being in all of this pain because the people we elect supposedly don't listen to what we want. And I don't believe they care, to be honest with you. I think that would be so difficult about being alone. I was thinking about my father. Living alone, my sister and her family aren't that far away from him in Southern California, but There is a lot of that by yourself time. And I think we've all had people in our lives who we know have gotten a little weird because there's nobody in their lives, or they just don't get out and do things. It's so lonely. I don't want that. I'm going to fight that. But I think we should be able to demand that the people we elect do what we say, or at least pretend to care about us. We don't. I'm going to start with a story, okay? So my kids, Bob and Chris, going to be 18 this summer. They're on a travel soccer team. And I think, honestly, the travel soccer is more for the parents to hang out and drink and get away from, our jobs and go on these little weekend trips to Baltimore or to Ohio State or wherever we're going in the various areas near Pennsylvania. Well, this is it. This is the end of their athletic high school career, right? And one of the few tournaments of this spring season coming up is going to take us back to Baltimore. It's a great tournament. We enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Just so happens to be on the same weekend in March as this kind of rager party that happens periodically in the woods by our house. And so the high school kids, and this is something that's been going on for years and years and years, the all-boys high school that my kids go to, and the sister all-girls Catholic school, it's right down the street, and some public schools from around the area that kind of crash the party in the woods. They all get together, somebody drags up a keg, they make some jungle juice, whatever it is that you drink and barf on once and never again, right? And everybody bears the whatever weather it is and hangs out. Invariably, the cops come, bust the whole thing, and it's whatever. But the last one is coming up at the same weekend as this soccer tournament, right? And Bob and Chris are like, because Joe said last night, he says, okay, we got to make our reservations for the tournament. You guys ready? And they were both like, about that. And so the date on this final thing hasn't been completely confirmed, but the boys are kind of biting their fingernails. We really want to go hang out for the last time with all of our friends and a bunch of people from other schools and do some stuff we probably shouldn't, but it's okay. I'm not far from home. We're going to be good. But I've got this responsibility that I signed up for. And beyond that, both of my kids are the captains on the team, right? Not because they're excellent soccer players, but because one was chosen by the team and one was chosen by the coaches. So my boys are the two captains of this soccer team. They know that it's a totally bad look to not go to this tournament just because they want to go hang out in the woods at this party. And so Joe's like, well, I need a final answer. What are you guys going to do? Of course, we all know what they're going to do, right? Because it's really not going to be a choice. They don't know that, but of course. And both of them said, we've got to go to the tournament. It's a really bad look as captains to not show up and do what we were basically elected to do. And I was like, oh my goodness, shut up. My 17-year-old sons are more responsible than the United States Congress. Did you guys know that last year Congress had 91 work days off? 91? You know what that works out to be? That's like 8 days off a month, ladies and gentlemen, not counting the weekends. That means if you're a sitting member of Congress, you could legit take your family on an extended full week-long vacation and probably take a wraparound Friday and Monday and still be cool to come back and do your job. That's how little these people work. Look, I'm not here to tell you that our Congress people are lazy. I don't think that's the case. But look, in what other job do you get so much time off and are held to so little account and refuse to ever listen to your constituents and continue to vote in the wrong way and just go along with it because it's just so big, you know? It's just, we're never going to change it. So let's just add another 1.7 trillion onto the deficit and we'll, somewhere down the line, we'll figure it out. No. See, no, this is not how we run our lives. Congress people, if you and I ran our lives and our families the way Congress runs this government, right? You and I would be bankrupt. We'd be penniless. We'd be on the street, homeless. Our cars would be repoed and we'd be looking somewhere for a shelter. And that would be that. But in Congress, They can continue to do whatever they do, enrich themselves, no accountability. And as long as they can get enough people to contribute to their coffers, well, they can continue to run for re-election. There's one thing that stops this freaking madness, you guys. Term limits. That's it. If you come into the House of Representatives and you know that you get, let's say what? You get 3 2-year terms maximum. That's it. Okay. You don't have to constantly run for re-election. If you're a senator, maybe you serve 1, or maybe it's 5 terms. You can serve 10 years, whatever the case might be. It is not your grift. It is a temporary honor. It is a privilege to go there and to serve the people of this country. And you know what happens when you're not always running for re-election? You're doing your job and you're thinking about your legacy. You're doing what Donald Trump does. He sits back. He's got a year of his second term under his belt. And he looks at the horizon. He knows 3 years is coming faster than he knows. And he's got a limited time to leave a mark, to leave that legacy for his grandchildren and for their grandchildren. Why don't we have that? Why is that not every single man and woman who gets allegedly elected to go serve us? Why don't they listen to what we say? Pass the SAVE Act, Senator Thune. Stop tiptoeing, tightrope walking, dancing around. We have one thing that we want right now. We want our elections back. Because we do not trust you. We haven't trusted you in years. And you don't listen. I would rather be alone by choice and lonely for the rest of my life than I would enjoy living in a beautiful place of opportunity whose leaders are corrupt and who refuse to listen. We have no protection, but we do have leverage. We have our numbers. We have our voices. And beyond that, there is a love that is indescribable. You cannot put it into words, but you can taste it. And you can feel it as that chill runs up and down your spine. And you know it down to your fiber. This is the hill of all of the hills to die on. This is it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Nicki Minaj, Steven Crowder. Oh my goodness, did you guys get the parody song about Don Lemon? It's so great. We got a clip of it for you. It is worth the price of admission, which would be free. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm going to put Jason somewhere, but it didn't flow with my random train of thought. Brock, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So I wanted to read something to you because I don't think when I talk about them, I want to read you something about Healthy Cell because I was like, I really enjoy this company. I've used their products for a long time now, and I very, very much enjoy them. And I want to explain to you why I enjoy them. Here we go. Decades of lab work show that most pills and even powders have low absorption, okay? These outdated formulas contain dense, dehydrated particles that are 10 to 100 times too big to be fully absorbed into your digestive tract. That's kind of interesting to know, right? Our innovative microgel technology delivers micro-sized, ultra-absorbable nutrient particles to your digestive tract. From there, these essential nutrients can efficiently absorb into your bloodstream and ultimately into your cells, which are the building blocks of human health. So when it says healthy cell, that's what's going on. This stuff is going into the cells where it needs it, okay? Every single one of their supplements, I love them. You get a nice discount when you use my name. You can go to healthycell.com and just shop and use my name to check out. You can go to healthycell.com/Wendy. You're going to go to the same spot. I believe in this company, and I will tell you that their products make me feel better. They make me feel better. And there's good reason for that because the science tells you why. Appreciate that. All right. All right. So I was so proud of my sons. They're like, we can't go to that freaking thing in the woods. We want to. There's probably some girl to, kiss or what have you. Maybe not. But it'd be a lot more fun than traveling with your parents to Baltimore to play soccer in the cold. But I was so proud. Like, we didn't say anything. I was so proud of Joe. Because normally he's like, you've got to. And I'm like, bzzzt. Let them decide. Okay? Let them decide. You know that we'll browbeat them into the right answer.
Well, you're not surprised. But you shouldn't be surprised. Bobby did it with the blood drive.
Why are you guys throwing freaking money at me? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Doc Wombat. I don't drink coffee, but I bought both mugs.
You can drink anything out of them.
That's fantastic, Froggy. Thanks, Froggy. Hey, Major Ellis, gifting 5 subscriptions. Aren't you guys lovely today? Thank you. And what are you doing? And $5 from Griffin Lady. Hello. If no one is illegal on stolen land, then you're right.
I'm going to get frustrated.
Are you? What's happening? We need to get to 2,000 rumbles is what he's trying to say. We need
something like that.
460. Come on. It's that thumbs up button. Go. Yo. Initiative for the term limits. There are a lot of different programs out there, a lot of people, patriots out there who've been pushing for this. It's got to be something that is demanded by the American people. Look, we are 300 and what are we now? 40 million strong. We have 535 elected representatives federally. So you mean to tell me the 340 million people's voices are less significant than 535 people who believe they are above the law? A lot of them do. I don't think so. I love the whole transformation of Nicki Minaj. I never really followed her. I'm not a big rap music person. But I love her story. I love how she said, look, I'm not a registered Republican. Well, today she is because she just switched. But she saw the knives coming out and how unfairly Donald Trump was being dragged over the last 9 years. And she's like, I couldn't take it anymore. He was being bullied. Enough is enough. And so she stood up for him. And she's like, look, I'm putting my flag in the sand right here because this is the place to be. And she's been absolutely assailed for it. She doesn't care. She points her long acrylic fingernail at you and she's like, I don't care what you think. I love that. I love this. A Nicki Minaj parody song about Don Lemon. Steven Crowder, did he do it or did he post it, Brock? What was the story?
I don't know. He gave credit to somebody for writing it, and I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Well, I think it's fantastic, and you guys deserve this because Nicki Minaj taking a swing at that hack Don Lemon for busting into a church and getting in people's faces to make them uncomfortable. It's great, and you deserve it. Enjoy.
Yeah. Order in the court, please. Miss Judge on the mic. Bring the choir in. Ay, Don Lemon in the back row. Fake fur, tight pants, and a weak glow. Trying to preach, but he reading from a talk show. Facts all wobbly, stunting for the B-roll. Oh, you ain't Peter, you ain't Paul. Those are just the guys you cracked at the mall. Right before you pulled up at a church hall. Don't blame the Christians and act appalled. Sunday service, families made prayer. Here you come, put my mic on air. Turn the pulpit to a press event. Now the bailiff taking evidence. Awkward. Don Lemon, why you so bitter? Crying like a little bitch on Twitter. Unwatchable like Jennifer Welch. Gonna have to start a new show from a cell.
I mean, you guys, could you listen to 5 more minutes of that? I absolutely could. Absolutely could. Look, there's no reason we can't be frustrated and also enjoy the ire and skewer people out there who have pushed our final nerve. Don Lemon represents all that I think is so uncomfortably insecure about the woke and sanctimonious left. And they will hide behind anything about themselves that they believe they can sell you as a victim so that you can't criticize. Well, I can criticize. I don't care that you're black. I don't care that you're gay. I don't care anything about you other than the substance of your character, which all I can tell is severely lacking. Nicki Minaj is shining in the truth that she believes in. You don't have to agree with her, but she doesn't care what you think. And isn't that refreshing? The Trump administration jumped in on a viral TikTok trend Tuesday, posting a video. Did you guys see it? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, apparently before he then went and completely schooled Maxine Waters, dancing with rapper Nicki Minaj, Scott Bessent, to promote new investment accounts for children known as Trump accounts. You guys know that since Nicki Minaj put her money behind it, and also her support, they have more than 1 million of these already signed up. Think about that. Instead of this spend, immediate gratification, I go to Starbucks every day and I get my double latte. How about we save that money? We brew a cup of Folgers or Wendy Bell Radio coffee at home, save a few bucks, and invest that in the future. This amazing forward-thinking philosophy. And in our culture right now, it's all about the now. It's all about what I want now. It's about satisfying me now. Right? This is an interesting thing I found. How about where the greatest job growth is in America right now? Do not come out with a poll telling me that everybody's hot and bothered to vote for all these Democrats. Don't tell me that that's the case. However, if you live in an area with a loser Republican representative, I understand. How about this? Best job growth rates, these states. Ready? Idaho, Utah, South Carolina, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Montana, Arizona, Nevada, and Tennessee. That's where the most jobs are starting up and attracting people to come and apply. 9 of those 10 states, ladies and gentlemen, are Republican states. The one that's not, Nevada. Worst states. Ready? Louisiana, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Iowa, Illinois, West Virginia, Vermont, Massachusetts, Hawaii, and Washington, D.C. The worst. How many of those are Republican? 3. Something is going on in our country. It's almost like that national divorce that Marjorie Taylor Greene had talked about before she decided to slither off to The View. And I know my comments about her make some people very upset. I don't care. I don't. You can either stay in a blue state and you can watch things go down the drain. You can watch your taxes go sky high. You can watch your roads fall apart. You can see the garbage pile up. Or you can live in a red state where the government gets out of your way. Many that don't have income tax, right? Federal income tax. That leave you alone. They don't gum up the works of your small business. And lo and behold, you're able to grow and save and dream. If Hank Johnson's right, part of this country is going to capsize. I don't know, guys. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, this Epstein stuff is it's backfiring splendidly on the left. The Clintons squeezed. Oh boy. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Honestly, who right now, if they were like, let's just think about California. Xavier Becerra is running for governor from the freaking fake Biden administration. Anybody who touched that administration should be like nuclear waste. They should be radioactive, right? And then you have Steve Hilton, the ultimate outsider, who's like, obviously we need a change of scenery here. So the question is California going to be clean enough to vote and actually depend on its votes? I doubt it. I doubt it. Why would you want to live there? I love the ocean. I love the people. A lot of them. No. All right. Kelly Morgan, by the way, sent me a great testimonial, and this is the young man. Let me see if I can find him. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, this is who I'm reading about. Okay. When I came to More Gains Fitness for my first body scan with Kelly on March 22nd, 2024, I had already lost 64 pounds on my own and weighed 251 pounds. At that point, my progress was slow and the scale had become both motivating and discouraging. The first scan showed the bigger picture. My body fat was 41%, totaling 104 pounds of fat. I'd built some muscle, but I still had a lot of work for me. Ahead of me, blah, 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 did all of this, started doing all this stuff with Kelly, the macro guidance, the body check-ins, all of the weight training, yada, yada. And he started saying the results. He said, today the scale sits around 200 pounds. He lost 51 pounds more. While that number hasn't always moved in a straight line, my body composition changes tell the real story. My body fat has dropped from 104 pounds to 57. My body fat percentage has fallen from 41% to 28. My muscle mass has been preserved, and my in-body score has improved from 68 to 74. I'm now 200 pounds from 315. Huh. What? Moregainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ. Who's next is the question. Who's next? 90 days. Now, that took him a lot longer, obviously. He was a big boy. But if you've got 30, 40, 50, 80, 100 pounds to lose, and you want to firm up along the way, moregainsfitness.com. I believe in it. God, that BS board keeps getting in the way of my shots. All right, what are you frustrated by over there, Brock?
Nothing.
That's not a good lie. I need to know because I'm going to be frustrated.
No, why?
Because I can tell that you are, and I'd rather you just be honest with me.
I just miscalculated.
Miscalculated what? What? He's actually joyful.
No.
So, miscalculated what?
Mugs.
Oh, like what? Like what?
I don't know.
Go ahead, say it.
Did I underestimate that they would buy both?
Yes, you did.
And
Yes, you did. So now you find yourself in a little bit of a pickle. I'm deeply gratified that you want both of our mugs. You know, first of all, it's from our friend Gary Varvel, who's one of the most talented cartoonists, if not the most. He's freaking off the grid, right? But then it's that you guys see us as a team because we are. It's what we do, both of us. That's important. You know, I wish that government worked in a more symbiotic fashion. Because if these people weren't always running for re-election, maybe they could actually focus on doing something that was right. And Brock and I talked about this on the way in. I'm very disappointed by a handful of people in my life. None of the situations I can control. I can only control how much I allow it to annoy me. And I've given it the requisite time to annoy me. And I'm ready to come out the other side. I'm not there yet. And so I was telling him this morning, I'm like, I'm super annoyed by this. And I'm grateful that I have you because that's not who you are. It's not what you do. We wouldn't be here if it didn't work out that way. So, damn right you want both mugs. I would too.
I don't know who ordered first. Wendy will have to look that up. Someone asked who ordered first.
Oh.
Say,
why would I have to look that up? You're the one who just showed me how to look up the orders at all today.
yeah, because I can't. I get skeezed out when I'm flipping between screens because I don't want to affect the stream.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, gotcha. I love Scott Bessent. He's another.
Did you see him dancing when he went like this? Oh, you see his head go. Total white guy.
Yeah. He's great. But again, Here's a gay man, extraordinarily wealthy, extraordinarily able, and ridiculously bright. I think they have a couple sons, right? And he's got no more F's to give, right?
He can afford not to give F's.
He's going to call me and be like, Wendy, can you tap into your jar? And I'll be like, look,
I'm almost out.
I'm like, I'll give you one, but that's all. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, I've seen some pictures that have come out from this latest dump of, what is it, like 3,000 pages? 3 million pages, 3 million pages. And there's a picture of his body allegedly after he, took his own life, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about Ghislaine Maxwell. Quite frankly, I don't care about the Clintons, but I do care about how much Hillary and Barack Obama have fudged up this country. I want to play for you right now a soundbite that I hadn't planned on it, but it's so perfect. And this guy has been incredible before. His name is Jason Meister. And he comes on Newsmax, and here he is talking about the inconceivably illegal actions of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Comey, Clapper, fill in the blanks, right? These people who believe that they are the law, they are beyond the law, they are untouchable. They are not untouchable. They cannot be untouchable. You cannot forgive what they did. I want you to hear him. Again, he is Jason Meister. He's a Trump advisory board member. I don't care what he is. I love how he speaks. Listen.
It should shake every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
184%. Yes, what he said. So with that as the backdrop, right, on your easel, let's put in some happy little trees, all right? So imagine you're Trump, and you're in the Oval Office, and you're announcing some moves, you're doing this and that. The media are there. And Caitlin Collins, resting man-faced CNN broad, who is just a toxic, miserable, white college-educated liberal chick, right? She can't possibly ever say anything that isn't a dig or a swipe or a punch at Trump or something that Trump cares about. And she asks about the Epstein thing, right? And she said, what would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice? Look, in Trump's mind, he's like, I have nothing to do with this. I kicked him out of my club. I reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police, okay? I had nothing to do with him. I wasn't on his plane. I knew him until I saw what he did with a woman who worked at Mar-a-Lago. I didn't know, and then I did, and I kicked him out. And that was like 2003. What the hell do you want me to say? Why am I responsible for what all of you are insisting be released, all of the sordid details and dots that are left out there for anybody who wants to connect them however they want. I told you it was the wrong path to go down. Trump said something very interesting, and touche. This is President Trump to Caitlin Collins, who just asked that question about Epstein victims not getting justice.
I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say?
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face.
I'm asking you about survivors.
You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
Would you die if you were Caitlin Collins? Well, you would, because you're not an icicle. You're not a literal, deranged, frozen icicle. That's all they are. They've got literally no feeling inside. They've got the homing chip activated. Get Trump, stop Trump, say something about Trump, go after Trump. And it's like, can you just stop? That you take no joy in your life or your job, that's on you. But my goodness gravy, are you an awful, miserable human being? Good for you. She is. They are. Always. It's ridiculous. So as this is going on, Bill and Hillary Clinton got squeezed into a bit of a corner, if you will. I'm not so sure that the untouchable duo thought that Democrats would vote alongside their Republican counterparts and say, you know what, on oversight, we're going to vote for contempt. If you don't think that you can come in because you're above congressional subpoenas to come and testify about the whole Epstein saga that is being demanded by your party, well, then we're going to hold you in contempt. And Democrats joined with Republicans. And the Clintons were like, oh, snap. They thought they were going to do what they always do, get away with everything. Get away with all of it. Bill with the kids, Hillary on the island too, whatever you want to know. Do you think you're going to get the truth? Why the Clintons reluctantly reversed course on contempt strategy. So they're going to sit down for a deposition. And they're going to apparently make it public. Okay, so Hillary's going to have to go through some hyperbaric chambers. I don't know, maybe Joe can help her with the password to his. When Bill and Hillary Clinton agreed Monday to testify in the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee's investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, they did so reluctantly. But after this is thehill.com, you guys. But after it became crystal clear that a number of Democrats would be voting with Republicans to hold the couple in criminal contempt of Congress, the former first couple were backed into a corner. Those in the Clintons' orbit say the former president and his wife, the former first lady and secretary of state, were left with no choice. Once the Democrats abandoned ship, that's the monolith. That's the voting bloc. That is the group. That is the blob. But it began to fissure, and they had no choice. I want you to hear James Comer, head of oversight, outside on the steps of the Capitol, announcing when the Clintons actually did agree to the terms. This is what he had to say. He's like, look, nobody gets special treatment here. Most assuredly, not these two. Listen.
I think everyone knows the Clintons have agreed to the terms. They issued a statement last night, and they said they agreed to terms, and the story came out. I asked reporters, I said, what's the date? And they said, well, we don't know yet. Well, that's a very important term, is the date. So I'm very pleased today that the terms were the rules of a standard deposition. So they're not going to be treated any differently than anyone else. And the dates will be in February, in the next few weeks. So the contempt motion is still on the table. The contempt of Congress is for failing to show up. This will be their third date that we've given the Clintons. And 3 strikes and you're out. The votes are there for contempt. I think there are Democrats that will vote to hold him in contempt if the Clintons miss this next date. So we're hopeful that they'll come in. We can ask questions I think every American and every curious reporter would have, and then we'll move on.
And I think the date is like what, February 27th and 28th for them. So we'll see what happens. Then a reporter on the steps asked, they can't help themselves. Well, are you worried about the precedent that this is going to set if you can bring in former presidents and make them answer questions? Like, hello, really? Don't you worry about that? I.e., what if Trump gets called in? This is a very interesting answer from House Oversight Chair James Comer.
Democrats are now saying that this is setting a precedent, that in the future, perhaps President Trump could be called to testify, other presidents could call to testify. What do you say to this argument about precedent?
Well, look, it could set a precedent. I think, one of the things that we're talking about today, the video, the deposition will be videoed. That was never a thing until the Democrats set a precedent to video the January 6th deposition. So now there's a precedent to do videos. This isn't about helping President Trump. This isn't about protecting President Trump. This is about doing two things, what we've said all along: getting the truth to the American people about what happened with the whole Epstein saga, and secondly, how did the government fail the victims? That's the purpose of the whole investigation.
None of which, by the way, has anything to do with Donald Trump. Now, so Bill Clinton's like, you know what, all of these things, I knew him, but it's not like we were close or anything. It's like, whatever, Well, there's a painting of you in his house, but other than that, right? This is Virginia Representative John McGuire, Congressman McGuire. He's on Newsmax, and he's like, look, Bill Clinton tells us he didn't know the man. I didn't know the man, Jeffrey Epstein. Well, the frequency of their interactions apparently suggests otherwise. It's almost like the congressmen and women know, huh?
Bill Clinton said, I don't know the man, but records that were released show that he brought Epstein to his White House 17 times, and he flew on the Lolita, the Epstein aircraft, 26 times. And that's not knowing the man, that's a VIP pass to Epstein Island. And so it's about transparency and answers, and the victims deserve that closure. And so I think the American people and the Virginia 5th Congressional District, Virginia Commonwealth, and our whole country deserve that transparency, deserve those answers, because what he's saying is not adding up to the evidence.
Again, these Epstein developments are not going the way the Democrats wanted. They believed it would do something to Donald Trump. Well, speaking of Donald Trump, here he is in the Oval Office, and a reporter asks him about the Clintons agreeing to testify. Finally, listen to what he says.
Today, we heard that the Clintons set deposition dates to testify before the House Oversight Committee. Any reaction to that related to the Epstein question?
I think it's a shame, to be honest. I always liked him. Her, yeah. She's a very capable woman. She was better in debating than some of the other people, I will tell you that. She was smart woman. I hate to see it in many ways. I hate to see it. But, then I look at me. They went after me like, they wanted me to go to jail for the rest of my life. Then it turned out I was innocent, very innocent.
Isn't that remarkable? He had the opportunity in 2017 to turn the tables and go after Hillary. And he said, you know what? That's not what this country needs. See, there's love of country, and then there's love of self. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, how about Melinda Gates? She's on this NPR podcast, Breaks the Internet. 22 million views I've gotten already of this thing, right? What did she say about her ex-husband apparently getting together with a Russian hooker through Jeffrey Epstein and getting a sexually transmitted disease? Oh my. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Right? Now, and Trump had every reason in the world to be like, Hillary's a crook. Lock her up. She's dirty. Bill's dirty. They're all dirty. And he's like, it's a shame. The whole mess is a shame. But you know what? I've got to deal with India right now because they're pledging $500 billion to the United States right now. So you guys can fester on this. I've got to actually go do things to leave my legacy on the country, right? It's sort of different. Okay, so I want to tell you guys about the Juvenon, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. That's my jam. Then I'll tell you about Jack's jam next. Nitric oxide is the key. I never really thought that so much of healing and so much of health is dependent upon how much your blood moves in your body. Certainly being married to a cardiologist who does catheterizations through the wrist and gets into the heart and can open up or get all the blood vessels and then, open up blood vessels. Of course, it's about blood flow to the heart, but you don't think about it to your brain. You don't think about it all over your body and what that's going to do for you. I'm going to tell you something. If there's one thing you do today, it would be to do this. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I can tell when I don't take it because I just don't have the same strength or energy or focus, right? And I do not, more importantly, I do not sleep as well. Sleep like a boulder. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Again, the male version, because it has to deal with men and testosterone. You're different. I know what a woman is, right? Alpha Gold Male, bloodflow7.com. And they have like a bundle where you can get them together. I'm just making Brock take his right now, right?
Yes.
I love it. I'm telling you, I love it. And it's not just about lifting weights and running marathons. It's about getting through your day as most productively and as strongly as you can and not hitting the wall and being all tuckered out at the end of the day. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Game changer. Nice discount. I think they're 30% off. So please, I would not talk to you about something if I didn't use it and think it worked. Period. This whole, I don't think Melinda Gates is a good person. Like, I don't know her, but you got to feel for anybody whose husband's banging Russian hookers. Honey, I've got to go on another trip. Where are you going, dear? Somewhere in the Caribbean. Okay. Pack your sunscreen. I'm sorry. Ugh. All the money in the world does not make that man attractive in any way, under any iteration. I'm sorry.
By the way, we are under 50 Second Amendment commemorative gifts. So.
This is the one with Clarence Thomas. North is still north. So on the website, wendybellradio.com, it only shows you to a commemorative gift. This is what it is. We're not allowed to put pictures and whatnot. Okay. I love them. I think they're so cool. We still have like 20 tumblers left. Those are awesome. I should bring mine in tomorrow and start drinking out of it. The blue ones are beautiful. All right. We got a little Melinda here. It's a bummer. Just so gross. And Reid Hoffman. I don't know if I'm going to get to him today, but what a dirt. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Be careful what you wish for. Apparently, when you want the Epstein justice. I mean, honestly, is there justice after something horrible happens? What is justice? Is it some kind of a financial reward? Because you don't give back people who've been abused by evil what was stolen from them. I guess you can try to make things a little bit more comfortable. Or we can all just say, you know what, can we stop the sexual deviance in this country? Can we stop the preoccupation with children? Can we identify whatever is wrong in the brains of human beings who look at children in a sexual fashion? Can we get these people and figure out what the bejeebers is wrong with them? Because I'm sorry, it's a way bigger problem than we know. I wouldn't want to be Melinda Gates at all. Melinda Gates reacted to the release of Jeffrey Epstein's emails involving her ex-husband, Bill, including horrific allegations that Epstein made such that Bill was attempting to dose her with antibiotics to fight an STD without her knowledge by saying Bill and other Epstein associates, quote, need to answer those things. Melinda says, you know what? My ex has got to answer these questions. He's got to get called in. You cannot be above the law. She says, I think we're having a reckoning as a society. Melinda Gates told NPR's Wild Card podcast host Rachel Martin yesterday. She said no girl should ever be put in that situation they were put in by Epstein. And whatever was going on with all of the various people around him, she knew, right? She knew. And it wasn't just like one transgression. It wasn't just like Bill Clinton, met Jeffrey Epstein at the Four Seasons on the Upper East Side. I don't even know if one exists there. And was like, oh, let's do some business. Come on. These people were in their orbits for years and years and years. Melinda knew. She knew. It's beyond heartbreaking. I remember being those ages that those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, she said, Melinda Gates. Can you imagine being the daughters and the son of this couple? I mean, like, honest to God, you're like one of the richest people in the world, and now you want to hide under a rock. Let's listen to the question. This is a tough one by this anchor, this woman, asking Melinda Gates, all right, so I have to ask you, like, you don't owe us any explanation, but like, when you find out that he got a sexually transmitted disease from a Russian prostitute arranged to him by Jeffrey Epstein, and that he was asking Epstein for antibiotics to kill the STD and to dose you so you didn't get it. So you, not just so for your protection, but so that you weren't blown in on his ridiculous transgressions. This is how it went. 22 million views as of 5 this morning. Listen.
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection, and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these details.
Sad. Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth, right? And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life.
At least for me, I'm going to be able to move on. And then later in the interview, she talks about this new chapter. I'm sure there's some new guy she's with, whatever. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. It doesn't give us anything. It makes nothing better. We already knew he was a scumbag. In fact, there's a meme on X right now, and it's a split screen of like a very young Bill Gates, like college dropout Bill Gates, right? And it says how it started. Infect computers with viruses and sell antivirus software. And then it says how it's going, and it's him now. And it says infect people with viruses and then sell vaccines, right? Nobody likes this guy to begin with. And think about all of the other decisions that he made that were poor. Oh, you mean about vaccinating every single girl in Africa? Why would we want to do that, Bill? To make you rich. Guy made $245 million on the vaccine, so why not? Hour 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program. They really have got to try harder not to suck. Let's talk about what's going on with the SAVE Act. John Thune, grow a pair. We're calling you back next. I'll be right back. Do you need to go?
No.
I'll be right back.
Who here thinks that one of the congressmen in this deposition needs to have the stones to look at Bill and say, Okay, we all need to know. Did you really have sex with that woman? I would love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see someone actually say it. I don't know if they're allowed. They might be told off the bat, you don't bring that up, but I'd love to see it. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Because back then, nobody believed him back then because he started with I don't know if you guys remember the definition of what's the definition of is. I guess that was the the precursor for what is a woman. And they couldn't explain the definition of is, and now they can't define what a woman is. I just think it would be funny. And someone said that the Brock mugs are sold out. Please buy the Wendy mug. Please buy them. I think they're fantastic. You know, you got that on the other side, North is still North. I absolutely 100% love Gary Varvel's artwork. And we'll have Jolene make more. I did not think, and this isn't me looking for pity, I did not think you guys would buy both. I know you'll buy Wendy's. I without a doubt, I would buy Wendy's, but you know.
Hi.
I said that I hope a congressperson asked Bill in the deposition, did you really have sex with that woman? Monica Lewinsky. I'm sure they probably have strict rules. You are not allowed to ask them that.
Let me tell you guys about Dr. Gundry and MCT Wellness. If you pay attention, and I know you do, there are a lot of various products that we talk about that can help you with your weight loss goals. And I really like this one from our friend Heather. She said, Wendy, I've been drinking Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness. You can get it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. She goes, I love the blueberry lemonade, and I don't even really like blueberry. I was up to 190 pounds because my thyroid medication wasn't working. I've since had it adjusted, but I also started to drink the MCT drink. And honestly, I haven't even been eating any differently. I am now down to 175 pounds. 15 pounds. She's like, I'm so excited. My waistline has gone down 2 belt holes. I could never lose any weight before, even with my medication at the right dose. So this is a huge game changer. Thank you for always having such wonderful sponsors. That is what Dr. Gundry says happens because when you drink MCT Wellness, as I am right now, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, you don't get hungry for a period of time. Just a period of time, and it gets you through a chunk of your day. Maybe you wake up and at like 9 o'clock in the morning, you're ravenous and you're like, rah! Or maybe it's at 2 in the afternoon. You're snacking, you've got something you need. Well, if you drink this, it does something inside of your body, which helps your body drop calories that it holds on to, which is super helpful. But it also is delicious and it kills your desire to want to snack and it fills in the space of a meal. And so you lose wonderful weight. Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds. And he's like, I've seen so many people lose that and more. So if you believe Heather, and I do because I know her and she's lovely, this is it. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. All right. Let's see. There we go. More. Don't you guys like when I get to do paperwork and figure this out? Okay. Oi. All right. All right. How's everybody? I just got lost in paperwork. I'm like, ah! Oh my goodness. What's going on? 5,300. Okay, let's get, we got 1,000 more we're going to attract into our layer today. That's the goal. Yes. 2.19. Let's come back with 2.5. I would love that. Now, again, that's a lot. It's 300 people in just a few minutes, but I know you can do it. Oh, this whole Epstein thing is so discouraging. Nobody wins. It's all stalling technique. Ugh, thank God I've got silver to hold on to. Oh, it's so nice.
And that's the thing. Trump said, I'm telling you, and I questioned him too. I'm not going to.
You were pissed.
I didn't like the way he responded, but I was wrong. He's right. I'm not wrong often, but.
Let's see here. I like hearing from Tim Burchett. Like, who do you guys trust in Congress right now? Mm-hmm. I like him. Let's see here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
You know, the Washington game, we're losing sight of what happened here. People unelected simply because they don't like a guy's hairstyle or like where he came from, decided the American people's decision was invalid and began a systematic process to get him thrown out of office. This is a silent coup. These guys, if you ask me, ought to be the ones in jail. They ought to be the ones under investigation. What they have done working with agents from the Obama intelligence agencies is simply unprecedented. This is one of the greatest political hoaxes that has ever been perpetrated on the people of this country, certainly in a couple of generations.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program on the clock right now. So it looks like Senate Majority Leader John Thune is already trying to waffle and back away from passing the SAVE Act for secure U.S. elections. Like, why ever would that be? I don't understand. I don't understand. There's some very basic building blocks of reality and truth in my mind. Now, granted, I've been to Washington, D.C. a couple times. I've never been into the Capitol building. I don't know the first thing about what those people do. But I can tell you I'm not a pleased consumer of their representation. I don't know really who is. We want elections that are verifiable. We shouldn't have more people registered to vote than there are actually in the county alive to vote, right? Any more than we should have more votes come in than there are voters who voted. I mean, this isn't complicated. And we brought this up in 2020 and we're like, you know what? I'm not trying to be a pest. But if you have a county that's got 100 people in it and 90 are registered to vote, but you got 170 votes that are cast, I'm going to say, Houston, we've got a problem. Oh! You're a pusher of the big lie and all of the propaganda and look, we just want people who are citizens to vote. You should have to prove it. You should vote in person unless they've got some, extenuating, demonstrable circumstance. And it should be done one day. No machines, paper ballots, hand read. And I think we could probably get this accomplished. Remember the good old days before 2016, before 2020? I do. It's not hard. And John Thune's like, yeah, we're going to do that. Just pass all these other things and we'll do this other measure. Well, there was this idea, right? The standing filibuster where you push it to a vote. And you're like, look, you guys can bloviate about the need for voter ID or not, as long as you want, on the Senate floor. And then when you're done doing that, we're going to take a vote. And if 51 people here in the Senate say Save Act is the thing, that's what we do. And then now John Thune is like, I don't think so. What? So I want to hear from Tim Burchett. I do trust him. He's the congressman from Tennessee. And he always takes the videos outside milling around. It's never more than a couple minutes, but he tells you exactly what happened without the media twisting it and lying about it, and without the elected representatives who continually disappoint us lying to our faces. So let's begin with Tim Burchett. He's milling outside and he explains the Democrat hand-wringing over securing our elections with ID. It's not like you don't already know this.
Hey, everybody, it's Tim Burchett. What is the SAVE Act? Or the Save America Act, whichever you want to call it. Everybody wants to rebrand everything. It's just basically this. When you register to vote, you have to prove you're an American citizen. When you go vote, you have to show an ID. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the reason they don't want it is because they know they got a population of illegals voting. We see it. They say, oh, just prove it. Well, you can Google it. It's everywhere. These people, 10, 15 people registered to one address in Georgia. Just go down the list. It's all over. And they know it. And that's how they're stealing. Look at the history of this country. Stolen elections. Heck, Kennedy's first election to the White House, I guess I should say his only election to the White House, was that's where they perfected the dead people voting in Chicago, the mob. Sam Giancana and a bunch of them got together and they tilted the vote. And so we have a history of it in this country. It used to be the mob controlled it. Now basically the Democrat Party and the Republicans don't have the guts to fight it. This should be a beast worth dying on, folks. It's a good piece of legislation. It makes a lot of sense. And the only argument you have is you want illegals voting. Only one. You got to show an ID to buy a 6-pack of that gum beer. Let's get it done this week, folks. They're going to try to stop it every chance they get. Because the reality is people don't want to lead. They just want to be in power and get all the good stuff and not make any of the sacrifices that need to be made. $40 trillion in debt's what we're approaching. Thank y'all for sending me here. Let's take our country back.
People don't want to lead. They just want to be in power. He's talking about his his fellow congressmen and women, right? And so now we have John Thune. He's like, look, I know you guys are all hot and bothered for the SAVE Act thing, but look, this is the Senate. And the Senate is really busy, and we got lots of stuff that we're doing on the Senate floor. And for us to allow some standing filibuster with debate to go forever and ever and ever, I mean, like, don't you think there's better stuff for us? No, sir, no. No, John, can I be so forward and call you that? John, see, because you work for me, and I represent a lot of people who would agree with what I'm saying because, oh, wait a minute, it's 83%, okay? It's not just me and my friends. It's not me and conservatives. It's me and libertarians and constitutionalists and Green Party candidates and libertarians, all these people, and Democrats. They want voter ID. You complete jerk. We'll listen to him try to say, look, this is like Leslie Stahl. He's the male. This is 60 Minutes. He's like, this is the Senate, and we've got all sorts of important stuff that we've not been doing up until now, and I don't think this is a good use of our time. Dude.
Well, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions, there are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and how they want to proceed. as I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will have those discussions, but that's obviously ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time with not only unlimited debate, but also unlimited amendments.
You should have 91 days off a year, John. I don't know why you guys get the entire month of August off. I don't realize why you need 10 days over Christmas and another 10 over Easter. How about you freaking show up? Because you know who does? Even on the holidays, we do. We do. I'm going to have to check with the conference. We're going to have to see what I'm going to tell you what the conference thinks. We are the conference, John. Here's Tim Burchett leaving after Republicans, agree to go along with the Democrats and stuff more pork into these spending bills to get them across the finish line.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett. Big vote on the floor. Appropriations bill. Total cost $1.2 trillion, whatever the heck that is. It's a bunch of appropriations. Department of Defense. Here we go again. It's $8.4 billion more than what Trump asked. Department of Labor, Human Health Services, $221 billion. These things just keep going. Exceeds the president's request and includes funding for programs President Trump zeroed out. Oh, man. There's a lot of stuff in here that just, there's earmarks for transgender surgeries on minors, abortion, syringe exchange programs, intersex and LGBTQ advocacy programs. Like, if you want to sponsor that stuff, pay for it out of your own dadgum pocket. We're $40 trillion in debt. We don't need to be mutilating kids on the altar of political correctness and this woke utopia they're trying to create. It's a sad day when we do that, and that's what we use for negotiating. We got to start negotiating from power. We need to start following our president's advice on a lot of this stuff and negotiating. You don't negotiate from weakness. Trump will tell you, you negotiate from power, and that's why he wins.
It's also stuffed into the spending bills, $3.8 billion to Israel, $1.5 billion to Egypt, $2.1 billion to Jordan, $5 billion for refugee cash, healthcare, and daycare. What? $700 million for foreign projects involving HIV and AIDS, $315 million in some CIA package. What? Like, this doesn't stop until you and I say it stops. It's like listening to my father say, well, until enough people in California, right? Yeah, until enough people rise up and say, we want our country back. They don't listen. They don't care. They don't lead. My sons choosing to go to a freaking soccer tournament because they are the captains and not trading up to something that sounds a lot more fun to hang out and drink in the woods with their friends. At the age of 17, they got it figured out. John Thune, you're 62 or whatever the hell you are. Who are you serving? Who are you leading? Well, this is the Senate. We do have a lot of really important stuff to do. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, like literally, I gave you some fake news yesterday, you guys, and I'm sorry for it. I told you that California was going to be charging this mileage tax for you and your car, and I was wrong. It's not that they're doing that. They're charging you for the study to determine how much they could make off of it. That's going to be a few million first. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So I told you yesterday about my son, Jack, and I didn't put the pieces of the puzzle together. So when my friends at Juvenon sent me this care package, and it had multiple bottles of my Blood Flow 7, it had multiple bottles of the Alpha Gold Male. I wanted a couple of my boys to do it. Brock wanted some. They also gave me a couple new products, and one of them was this GLP-1, and this is the hormone signaling problem often with our bodies that prevent us from losing weight. So people get GLPs, they inject them, they do this stuff to lose weight. Well, the Juvenon, bloodflow7.com, has created something that triggers the natural reaction in your body to start waking up again and firing and to be like, hey, It's time to lose some of this weight, right? So you've probably heard about these GLP-1s because of prescription weight loss drugs, and they force this process in your body. See, that's what this is doing, this product, GLP-1 Gold by bloodflow7.com. It does the same thing, but it's not an injection. It just triggers it in your body. And what people can usually notice isn't magic weight loss, but it's feeling full sooner. It's fewer cravings. It's less food noise throughout the day. And if appetite control is something you seriously need a little bit of help with, bingo, this is your baby. Jack stole it from this. Well, I didn't steal it. He plucked it off of the counter when he saw all of the bottles I laid out, and I didn't pay attention to it. And then yesterday, he's like, yeah, I'm down 10 pounds. Can you tell? And I was like, kind of. Like 10 pounds when you're 220 pounds you can see it, right? So this is another tool that you can use. I'm just going to tell you, I know Jack hasn't been eating and drinking as much. Maybe it's because he's been taking GLP-1 Gold. Well, he has been, and it's been working. So bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It's where you find all of this stuff, and you get a code Wendy30 for 30% off. Why not try it? 10 pounds in 4 weeks for Jack? 20 pounds in 2 months or more? That's pretty legit. And I trust bloodflow7.com. GLP-1 Gold. All these products are there under that umbrella, bloodflow7.com. And then Wendy30. Bingo. All right.
Someone else is throwing money at you.
Well, maybe they're throwing money at you, judging by the sale of your mug.
If I go an entire day without Urando 364, if I go an entire day without hearing your program, it completely ruins my day.
Oh, thank you. It's because of my hair, right? It's because I'm so pretty.
They said hearing.
Oh, sorry.
The hair had anything to do with it.
It didn't. It didn't. So I'll do that when we come back. Our friend with the essential tremor went back to Dr. Simkovich today. I love that he doesn't just drop you. He wants you to keep coming back and getting a tune-up, right? Let's make sure you're doing well. I love that. Can't wait to talk more about him. I love how freaked out they are over Tulsi Gabbard, that Trump has named her basically the keeper of the archives of this whole election fraud. Like, that girl is going to dig. Girl, she's a woman. That woman is going to dig. She's tenacious. Like Nicki Minaj, she's got no more F's to give. She doesn't care what you think. Remember, they called her a Putin puppet?
Russian asset.
Russian asset. Mm-hmm.
And that was Hillary.
Mm-hmm. That's how they do it. I should read you this poll. That's what I'm going to do when we come back. I got long on that, and I didn't read this poll, but you guys need to. I have zero confidence in our. Apparently, they don't trust elections. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I mean, how many times have you looked at results of something and you scratched your head and you're like, come on now? And they got so brazen with it because they tried to do it in 2016, but you showed up. They weren't banking on 63 million of us being like, we won our country and Hillary's she's a troll, right? There's no way we're going to go that way. And because of you, which is why they hate you, which is why they hate MAGA, right? Those extreme MAGA Republicans. Well, ask this question. Neapolitan News Service. Let's see how many people were asked. Blah, blah, blah. I like to get you all this stuff. They didn't give me, it's usually like 1,500 to 2,000 people were asked this question. How confident are you that votes are properly counted? How many? You confident in that? How confident? 63%, 63% are at least somewhat confident that votes are properly counted. 35% not confident at all. And that includes 1 in 4 of us who's just like, no, I don't trust anything anywhere. Voters were asked, which is a bigger problem with election fraud? Too many non-voters being allowed to vote or too many legitimate voters being prevented from voting? Do you believe what they're saying? You know, black and brown people, for some reason, they just have a really hard time getting an ID. It's so offensive. That's your Democrat talking point. 46% feel the bigger problem is that too many non-voters are voting in our elections. Voters were asked whether they favor or oppose the following voting integrity measures. Ready? Requiring voters to show photo ID before casting a ballot. Requiring all mail-in ballots to be received by Election Day. And isn't that so dumb? Can you believe we fell for that? Remember that? When they were like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to find out how many votes were down. And then we're going to all of a sudden have this like weird convention center 3 a.m. on Thursday morning ballot drop. We don't know where these came from. It was like out of nowhere, but let's hurry and count them. And then all of a sudden everything changes. Yeah, requiring states to clean the voter rolls. 80% or more favored all of those, including requiring all voting machines to be made in the United States. Can you imagine that? That's like getting a vaccine that's made in China. Oh, wait a minute. We did that? That's right. We did that. We did that. We got infected by a virus that we paid for, right? That Fauci and other creeps fiddled with in China. And then we imported it here to make us sick, right? And then we paid for all of the masks, which were made where? Oh, that's right, China. And of course, the vaccine. Hurry up, get it. It's the only thing that's going to save your life, made in China, right? It's sort of like, why would you ever trust anybody to make your elections equipment? You wouldn't. Oh, wait, well, we did. We did and we do. Why? Are we just that stupid? Yes. All right, so let me get you this real quick. All right, so I told you yesterday that California, this is why you wouldn't want to live, reason 752, why you probably wouldn't want to live in California, right? Democrats are going to spend millions of dollars to study the inevitable mileage tax that they're going to assess Californians. This is what we get into. So there's gradations of it. Well, we're already knowing that we've got to fill this gap, that the EV mandate, go drive an electric vehicle. And so people did, because they felt like it was forced upon them. And then Gavin Newsom was like, we're not going to make any more gas-powered cars. And people were like, oh, snap, I better go get my electric Jeep Wrangler, because that makes sense, right? So there's no more gas tax money. Oh, fudge, but we're spending that already. We don't want to lose it, so we're going to have to put on some kind of a fee for everybody. Well, I thought they were just going to do it. No, they're going to study it first to make some millions of dollars in advance of ultimately telling you, well, we don't really care what the study says. We're going to charge it for you anyway, right? That's how it goes. I'm sorry, but I'm done with that. Aren't you? Nothing could more perfectly represent the incompetence and the wastefulness of California Democrats than spending millions of dollars on a study to justify imposing even higher taxes on the state's residents. It reminds me of these recertification modules that my husband, the cardiologist, has to take. Guy's been in private practice for years and years and years, but he's got to prove himself to some board of what have you. And he's got all these various classes he has to take. So he has to sign up and take the materials. He's got to buy the materials. Then you've got to register for the test, right? That's another fee. Then you got to take the test. You got to pass the test, but then the test has to do this and that. You got to be licensed for, that's another fee. It's all a racket. Yes or no, if you have a heart attack or you're about to have one, is he a really good guy to know? Yeah. Do you need him to take 15,000 tests to prove it to you? Probably not. But we're going to make money all along the way. It's the SAT. It's driver's training. It's everything that you need to get certified for whatever you need. They're banking on your dough. They can't have it run out. How about y'all do your jobs? Well, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the question isn't if they're ripping us off. It's for how long have foreigners, transnational gangs of foreigners, been stealing for us? I've got some details for you. Face melt off time next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. What are you sending me? You're sending me something from Bill. Bill Mallusion. Oh. Huh. Little did that twerp know that day that he was going to go for a little joyride and escape police was going to be his last breath of free air. Apparently, the attempted Trump assassin Ryan Routh has been sentenced to life in prison plus 84 months. The people who are still just obsessed, they're saying, where are all the Epstein files? It's like, I don't know. What do you think you're going to get? What's the smoking gun everybody wants, Brock? It can't still be Trump, but it can't be.
It is.
But it can't be. Like, it's
but
just.
It is.
That's
all they want.
That's the insanity of it, isn't
that's
it?
the nutty TDS. That's all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
Because if everything he does, that is the premise. Get Trump. How is Epstein any different?
Mm.
Everything that they want to do, voter ID, he's trying to take over the elections. Cut out fraud in Somalian refugee Minnesota. ICE is Trump's fault. It's his Gestapo. Cut out the fraud. It's Trump going against the shithole country of Somalia. Everything is Trump's fault.
Yes, we have a very interesting exchange coming up in one of the last half hours of the show. A CNN panel. It's abject lunacy. By the way,
you made me listen to it twice.
By the way, if you are paying attention to us after the show has aired, so you're listening to us, you're following us later, your Rumble matters. Your Rumble after the show represents like 40% of our total number. So you who watch after the fact, you are so much more important than you know. Totally. So thank you.
Totes.
Rumble, rumble, rumble. I made you out of clay. Let me tell you guys about Dr. Simkovich, because I talked to our friend with the essential tremor who feels like things have gotten a lot better. Her sister just passed away, and it's been a very long, it's been a long haul for the family to watch cancer ravage your best friend and your sister. And finally, our friend's sister passed away. And to manage through all of the emotional pain and all of that, and to still have a pretty good grip on your tremors, she went to go see Dr. Simkovich this morning and get an adjustment. She's like, thank goodness I can still see him, because it's nice to see how I'm doing. We had no idea with her shaking, though it wasn't caused by a traumatic brain injury that she could remember, would Dr. Simkovich even be able to help? And then he not only helped her, he helped her like 75% improvement, which is life-changing, right? And so she was able to go back. This is what Dr. Simkovich does. If you have a traumatic brain injury, if there's something wrong and you know there's something wrong and you can't find anybody to fix you, that's the guy. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Because it works. It works.
Cat up gun, I think it's how you say it. Need a plan to stop paying taxes. Can you imagine if every American just said, no more, we're not going to pay our taxes until you get your financial books in line?
Is that what it has to be?
I really do. I can't give you the money because you can't manage it. So we're going to manage it for you. And I don't care. You know what? Put my taxes in escrow.
Yeah. Yep.
But until you guys get your books straight and tell us where all the money is going, we're not going to release the funds.
Is that what and I have to say, I don't disagree with you. Well, then the IRS is going to put a lien on blah, blah, blah. Well, no, see, if enough people don't pay, it's the same as enough people storming the Capitol or the Washington Monument or the Lincoln, whatever it is, the National Mall, and having millions of people. It's the same idea. I agree, though. Why do we keep funding the beast? That's applicable, Brock, to so much of my individual frustration right now with the various things going on in my life. Don't you think?
Yes.
Like at some point you have to have tough love.
Well, there's so much of it where you're just like, the status quo is good for them. Therefore, they want to keep the status quo going. And they'll do in your situation, they're going to do what's in the best interest for them.
Yes.
And keeping you tied to certain things until a certain time, even though they've done nothing for us, keeps the grift for them going.
Yes.
Until you finally say, no, I'm willing to take the chance of saying, I got 0 Fs to give.
No, I'm not doing it anymore.
I'm not going to do it anymore.
I don't want to play
and
anymore.
then you force another company to look at that person and go, well, we're not going to lose because you're not doing your job, so we'll do it without you, and we'll go right to them. They need to come right to the consumer, and that's us as taxpayers.
I agree.
And have to say, hey, Brock, we want to give X amount to transgender studies. Nope. Find some liberal to do it.
I don't disagree.
I don't like when you agree with me.
Sorry.
There's me.
You know what? I was thinking about this as we're talking in the commercial break. I was thinking about this as I was paying my property taxes, my $10,000 property tax. Like, what do you get for this? What if everybody didn't pay? What if everybody just said no more? You clearly do not know how to manage the budget of the corporation called America. And so therefore, it has to stop. Like you could not run a business and continually spend more than you bring in. You just can't. You can't run a household and have a member of the household be the spender who drains the savings and draws everybody into bankruptcy. It doesn't work like that. But the people who are in Congress who are responsible for that believe that they're above the law. I mean, Nancy Pelosi with her dentures and whatever she does when she chews on whatever she is, you know that face. You saw it when Trump was president and she was sitting behind him as speaker, right? That smug, sanctimonious, you'll have to pass it to see what's in it. You know, that they were gleeful that they were passing all of these absolutely outrageous spending bills and printing money. And giving it indiscriminately to people like Stacey Abrams. $2 billion to Stacey Abrams to manage what? What? Why are we giving them money? Because it never stops. See, these scumbags from other countries, take American fraud out of it because there's a crap ton of that too. But let's get rid of, let's focus on one thing at a time, right? If the money stops flowing, the grift has to end. Well, if your grift is your government and you don't feed into the government, the money stops. It has to stop. It can't continue, right? They can't come after everybody. So how do you get enough people to do that? Well, if I just pay my taxes, it'll go away and I don't have to worry about it. No. See, this is the hill. This is like the SAVE Act. We've told you so many times, and yet you continue to do what we don't want you to do. That was the frustration of Tim Burchett leaving the House of Representatives yesterday. Look at what they added back in. All of the things that Trump crossed out. I don't want to pay for transgender surgeries. And by the way, the first judgment came out. It's not going to be good. This is going to be a huge catastrophe for all of these health professionals who fell at the altar of weak and completely shafted their oath. Not even the Hippocratic oath. How about the oath of just not being a scumbag? Of just being a decent human being. I'm going to go with not mutilating your 8-year-old body right now because you might change your mind is probably a reasonable approach. Or I can look at you and see a $1.4 million cash windfall for me because it involves all sorts of drugs and procedures and all sorts of hospital time and got to get the OR and anesthesia and all of the recovery and blah, blah, blah. It's $1.4 million. So what if it destroys somebody's life, right? What if we all just said no? No. I want to tell you this, and it's so annoying. It's not even annoying. It's obnoxious, and it has to stop. And it wouldn't if Donald Trump wasn't back in office. There are more transnational scumbags who've been arrested for stealing from America. A little bit of everything with these schemes: smurfing, stealing people's Medicare ID numbers, their dates of birth, to charge fake fees for fake equipment to fake people, fake buildings, fake everything. Foreign nationals charged in Chicago, as the case would be right now, with a monster Medicare fraud op. Empty offices, bogus bills, foreign nationals charged in Chicago with billions in Medicare fraud. You guys ready? How is it that these people who don't speak English and who don't even live here are able to tap into the very porous, obnoxious money mill that is the American government? Because you and I fund it. The money is there, and so they spend it, and nobody pays attention. Can you imagine? Federal prosecutors in Chicago have filed charges accusing multiple foreign nationals of orchestrating elaborate Medicare and healthcare fraud schemes that bilked government programs and private insurers out of more than $1 billion through fraudulent claims for medical equipment and diagnostic tests that were never provided to patients. It's almost like the monstrosity of, you'll have to pass it to see what's in it. It's just to overload the system so nobody can possibly pay attention. It's Joe Biden and the crime family syndicate. Well, if we have 9 family members and 20 different shell corporations, and we're giving all of these corporations less than the threshold that would make bankers go, what's going on? Bing, 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 bing. Then nobody's going to be able to find us. We'll make it so dizzying. We'll have so many dots that don't connect. They'll go crazy and we'll be rich. That's what it is. Joe Biden and his dumb family figured it out. No wonder Carlos and Petro and everybody else from these foreign countries are doing it too. So, in one complaint, federal prosecutors charged a Kazakhstan national, super duper, with conspiracy to commit money laundering in connection with Medicare fraud operations. Anwar Abadakbak, I don't care, is charged with taking control of a legitimate Kentucky-based company called Priority One Medical Equipment and using it to submit approximately $666 million in fraudulent Medicare claims for continuous glucose monitors and catheters between March and August of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, $666 million in like what? March, April, May, June, July, in 5 months. More than $100 million a month. This guy was trying to bilk from us. According to the complaint, he entered the United States in May of 2023 on a summer work visa that expired in September 2023. So literally he was here for a hot second. 3 months, 4 months. But he continued residing in the country. Shocker. Court documents indicate he became a member and manager of Priority One in April of 2024 after the company was sold by its previous owner. Investigators say Medicare received approximately 250 beneficiary complaints about Priority One between May and August. Literally hundreds of complaints in 4 months, with many beneficiaries reporting they never received items or services from the company. 6 Medicare beneficiaries in Illinois who were allegedly provided continuous glucose monitors and catheters all denied requesting or receiving any diabetic supplies from Priority One and stated they didn't even have diabetes. Like what? What? How's that different than dead people voting? How's that any different than the Fulton County fraud that the state senator there blew out of the water? Greg Dolezal, state senator running for lieutenant governor. Behind me is a UPS store. 80 people are registered to vote there. Does that look like somebody's home to you? Oh, let's come over here to this ramshackle abandoned house with the windows that have been broken. There are 112 people registered to vote in here, and don't get us started on the homeless shelter down the way because there are 2,400 people registered to vote there. And there aren't 2,400 beds. Like, duh. It's so in your face. It's Somalians ripping you off, driving around in Bentleys. I wonder what's going on there. It's so hard to put these pieces of the puzzle together, aren't they? Well, and then there's this COVID scumbag. What? Did anybody out there think COVID was going to be a giant grift? Get out. Really? How many of you remember the frontal lobotomies that you had when you had to get your first nasal swabs during the beginning? And they jammed you and it burned like a son of a mother. And you were like, oh, and you had to heal like it took 4 days for your face to heal. Those people had no idea what they were doing. Okay? How about this? Pakistani-born Anash Ahmed, a hospital executive who fled the U.S. after $290 million in fraud, arrested in Serbia. How did this loser figure it out? Pakistani-born guy, former executive at Loretto Hospital in Chicago, has been arrested in Serbia after fleeing the United States following charges of defrauding the federal government of $290 million. Well, what did they say he did? Well, it appears, let's see, blah, 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 blah. He resigned from this hospital. Oh, during COVID-19 pandemic involving improper vaccination incidents. Loretto Hospital apparently gave shots to people who were not yet eligible, including workers at Trump Tower and members of an Oak Forest church. According to reporting by Block Club in Chicago, he came to the U.S. as a child from Pakistan. Court documents allege that he obtained personal information of around 150,000 patients at Loretto Hospital and used it to submit fraudulent claims to the federal government. It can't be that freaking complicated if these people are doing it. Right? I'm no rocket scientist. Ahmed and 2 others, Heather Bergdahl and Samir Suhail, were charged with embezzling over $15 million from the hospital by submitting fake invoices and fake payment requests. Oh my goodness, what? They got all sorts of fake COVID tests, and they got all sorts of fake vaccine, and they said that they injected a bunch of people with this fake stuff, blah, 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 blah. Great. I'm sure it's nothing, right? Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud. And the same guy, Anash Ahmed, is now shelling out money to what? He's almost given $100,000 to a MAGA and Trump-backed endorsed candidate for Texas Attorney General, a guy named Aaron Reitz. Why would he give why would this Anash Ahmed, who's ripped us all off with COVID fraud, $290 million, why would he be giving $99,894 to a Republican candidate for Attorney General? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know. Because the $290 million is ours. They locked up, scared to death, senior citizens in sterile spacesuit facilities called nursing homes. And they took away the one thing that those patients, our parents and grandparents, by the way, cared about most: human connection with people they love. And tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, died alone and scared, unnecessarily alone, while people got rich. I will never forget. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, the Trump administration, makes sense, stops all small business loans. To who? People who aren't Americans. Shocking. Let's go next. So this weasel flees to Serbia, first goes to Dubai to try to avoid capture. And then there's an Interpol worldwide manhunt because Trump wanted this guy. Yeah. How about you come on back, babe? I know you came here from Pakistan. You were just a boy, but no soup for you, but prison. What'd you just send me? Something fabulous. I want to tell you guys about Take Lean. TakeLean.com. 20% off. Promo code right now. Use my name. Take Lean. Lean is Brickhouse Nutrition's offering in the weight loss field. And unlike shots, this is a capsule that you take. And this is their number one big deal at Brickhouse Nutrition. And you know them from Field of Greens, real, organic superfood, right? These are those people. And they're like, look, we're not big into pharma stuff. We don't put anything into our products that we don't believe work beautifully with you. And so they created this one. Take Lean. Take Lean, and it does 3 very powerful things. 1, controls your blood sugar. Huge when you're losing weight. 2, controls your appetite and cravings. And 3, helps convert fat into energy. Bring it. That's the deal. That's what's great about Lean, converting the fat into energy. Why don't we feed off of the zhuzh we've packed on, right? That's Take Lean. That's what it does. 20% off, hover above that code. You're going to get it right there. Beautiful. I love them. Lots of things to think about. TakeLean.com. Love them. Also, a quick reminder, we've got CB Distillery this whole week. Again, that's another great promo code for you. I believe it's 25% off everything in the store. Stress, sleep, right? And pain relief. Totally knocked out without drugs or anything at cbdistillery.com. The CBD products are phenomenal. Look, indigenous people have known about the medicinal value since the beginning of time, right? Of the hemp plant. And in 2018, when it became deregulated or when it became able to be sold commercially to you, CB Distillery was born, and they do all this third-party testing, and everything they have is like pure, no fluff, no filler, just pure quality ingredients. Great company, 25% off right now. cbdistillery.com. I'm telling you. I particularly like their salves and oils for pain relief on my hands because of arthritis. If you get you just snarled by that, I think you're going to like the pain relief products that they offer at cbdistillery.com. And why wouldn't you want to sleep perfectly? I would. I'm so frustrated by so much right now. How about you guys? Are you doing well? 2.63, not really. Can we get to at 2 o'clock? Can we get to 3,000 rumbles? I mean, it's like, I so appreciate the people after the fact, but I definitely need more in the beginning. I appreciate it. Hi, Demanda. Hi, A Fusco. What's going on, the big stinker? Hi, Anti-Dam. Hi, little chickie. Sherry, how you doing, babe? Hi, Darius. It's good to see you back. Hey, Conley. What's up, Danae? And Corey. Hi, Myron. Rosebud, what's going on, Dancing Machine?
Thank you for the 60 people who ordered today.
Who ordered what?
Merch.
60 people have?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Have we sold out?
No.
Are we close?
On yours? No.
Mm-mm. On yours?
Yes.
How close?
You shut up.
Is it all sold out? It's sold out? Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, it's remarkable when you get headlines like this because you ask yourself, well, why was that allowed to begin with? There's so much pulling back. If we think about how whack everything got under Joe Biden and COVID and all of that, it was the ultimate smokescreen. It really was. Keep you sick, keep you scared, keep you worried, keep you suspicious of your neighbors, right? And it make you scared. It's such a gross mind scramble, isn't it? To be corralled down a path, kind of like the way the January 6ers were, from the Ellipse down to the Capitol. Remember how they did that? Closing off all the roads, forcing people down this path to end up at the Capitol. It's so weird how that happened. It's so weird how COVID was just so perfectly timed to fiddle with an election and allow all of the nonsense that happened. And it was like all the adults left Washington, D.C., and the teenagers had a house party. Well, they were gone. That was the 4 years of Joe Biden, right? And they got drunk and they had wild sex and they had gay sex in the Senate conference room. I'm not making this up. You know better. You know that this is true. And there were drugs and it was like, whoop, 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 whoop. It was a big rave, right? And then Big Daddy came back and they were like, oh, snap, get out the hefty bags. Who's been putting out their clothes on my floor, right? This is, yeah. Then the grown-ups came back to town and it's like, what the heck were you guys doing? The place is trashed. And Donald Trump's like, yo, we got to pick all this up and completely fix it. So it makes sense that one would see that we shouldn't give small business loans to people who aren't American citizens, right? Trump administration halts small business loans to foreign nationals requiring full American ownership. Baby steps, but by golly, this never would have happened. Why are we doing this? President Donald Trump, why didn't we do this is what I should say. President Donald Trump's Small Business Administration is stopping the issuance of small business loans to foreign nationals. I'm like, what are we, like, right? It's sort of like not giving drugs to addicts or not saying to them, well, look, we don't like what you're doing, but nobody's looking. Here's some syringes for you. And by the way, there's a place over there that you can shoot up for free, right? It's completely ridiculous. So now we're requiring that a business be 100% owned by a U.S. citizen or U.S. national to receive such a loan. What percentage of small business loans get paid back? Shouldn't all of them? Are we allowing people to borrow our money? Why are we giving money to other countries when we can't pay our own bills? Does anybody figure that out? Like, why are we giving billions of dollars to Jordan and Israel and all these other countries? What about us? Anybody ever ask that question? What about us? I didn't vote on that. I didn't agree to that. I don't see how that benefits me. And now we're giving them loans to have businesses here? What? This week, the Small Business Administration published a memo requiring that beginning next month, can't do it too soon, applicants for the agency's primary small business loan have to be American citizens or American nationals. Effective March 1, SBA hereby revises Standard Operating Procedure 5010-8. Right? Some statute, some place where it says what you got to do. And it says, look, why shouldn't you have to be an American citizen? Closing the small business loan loophole comes after the SBA suspended almost 7,000 pandemic-era loans for borrowers in Minnesota due to suspected fraud activity. I mean, like, every single problem, there's a grift that's associated with it. There's some line of fraud. There's somebody's identity to rip off. There's somebody's social security number or Medicare ID. And then all of a sudden, you've got millions of people who are like, wait a minute, I didn't do that. Why can't I get, why is my credit card interest rate so high? I pay off my bill. Well, actually. So on the one hand, you're grateful. You're like, yeah, I appreciate this, right? Wow, where have the guardrails been? You let the blob get so big, so out of control, so inconceivable that the idea of even opening the door to consider how you would fix it seems too much. So we'll just kick the can to another person, to another year, to another administration, and then you end up $40 trillion in debt. So there were 7,900 PPP loans worth approximately $400 million. Fraud just in Minnesota, just in one state, 400 million. And so if it's true that 10% of our annual budget, you can kiss goodbye to fraud, $700 billion lost to fraud every year until somebody says no. Until enough people say, no, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying your tax. I'm not contributing to that because you haven't fulfilled your side of the bargain. What do we get for that? We get fleeced by transnational gangs. How is it possible that you have more senior citizens receiving alleged assistance in California than the entire state of Florida, right? Quick time out. When we're back on the Wendy Bell radio program, third hour, the Grammys are a symptom of a devastating Democrat disease. I'll tell you about it next. They have hundreds of thousands more senior citizens allegedly receiving Medicare and all this other stuff just in California. The population doesn't support that. That's not what the numbers show, right? You can't have all of these people when you have many more living in Florida who are getting far less. Those two things don't add up. I did a poor job of explaining it, but it's going to come out here. Adam Carolla. I never knew him before, but I'm really enjoying him today. He's been fun. You know who's kind of dropped off of the platform, Brock? Scott Jennings. Haven't seen a lot of Scott Jennings. Have you?
I think he does his own show now, so I think he's not doing as much TV.
He'll be like the rest of us who realize that the podcasting and radio is a lot more enjoyable, right? All right, we got 5,600 people here. We have 2.72 rumbles. We need 280 to get to the 3,000 mark. Thank you for your help in that regard. Texas Bullion Exchange. I love this, though I don't love watching the value of my silver drop. So just a couple days ago, this was a lot more money. This is $580. This is a 5 troy ounce piece. It's 0.999 fine silver. 5 troy ounces of it. Beautiful. This is from my friends at Texas Bullion Exchange. I have 2 of these. This a couple days ago was worth almost $600, and today it's worth about $450. No,
has it really dropped? Because you can't buy it.
The Aztec calendar on the back. Isn't that beautiful? I'm telling you, some of these coins that they mint they're like artwork. They're magnificent. The detail on the back and the hidden things in them, to have the entire Aztec calendar on the back of this is like a 1948, 1950 piece, I believe. I love it. Texas Bullion Exchange, wendylovesgold.com. These are the people I trust. This is where I get my gold and silver from. They're easy to deal with. They teach you something every time you talk to them, and they want to help you save for tomorrow. So whether you have cash on hand or cash in retirement or savings that you want to push forward with a retirement account with them, a savings account for them, I would do it in a heartbeat. And they say, let's see, gold IRAs. That is the money.
ACAR78 said, my son purchased 10,000 worth from Texas Bullion yesterday.
I'm telling you, wendylovesgold.com. It's just one of those peace of mind things. It's nice to have a bedrock of security, and precious metals is that. 855-927-5557. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting me. I appreciate that. I trust them because my circumstance and situation with them has been nothing but beautiful. They're fantastic.
I know this is a little tinfoil of me, but has the price of silver, like, go to a pawn shop or someone that deals like that and see if you can buy it for that number.
No, it's way less. Yeah, 100%.
And you know what? It's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Like everything else, everything it's tangible, everything you can put in your hands, it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
I got a great email from somebody who said, is the sniper that I see at Amazon the same sniper as your sniper?
It is.
And I said, yes. And he was like, well, why is it sold in different places? And I said, well, I get credit for the sale if you go to disinfectwithsniper.com rather than buying it on Amazon. And he was like, oh, I'll absolutely buy it then from disinfectwithsniper.com. It's an easy thing to get, and it's free shipping, so why wouldn't you?
It's the same price. It's the same free shipping. It supports local business. It supports. He's not firing people like Amazon is right now. So it supports a lot of that. One bottle supports a lot of people.
And as Brock is sheepish right now because of the speed with which we've sold out of the 50 of his mugs, and we'll have to get more. Look, you guys have created an opportunity for Brock's sister-in-law. She's Jolene, to do something that she's wanted to do, and to be able to buy the equipment to then make these mugs and etch our AR-15 magazines and do all of these things that she does. she's able to invest in this machine that she can then go and create her own small business, right? How about Lindsay, who manages the merchandise? It's not a career for her, but she gets extra money to help with her life. That's that's good hard cash right there, right? Think about everybody that you've provided an opportunity for. It's phenomenal. You guys literally saved our friend at Disinfect with Sniper when he had a terrible, winter without snow to sell salt and other things at his hardware store. He could sell Sniper, and you guys saved him, right? He was able to pay his people. That's you. That's the powerful part of this community. One of the things I will tell you about Sniper, which I love about it, is even as you're leaving, say you're leaving to go to work in the morning, you spray a mist of this all over your countertops and some, doorknobs and what have you, your sink, whatever, commonly used areas. You don't have to wipe it up. It's not going to discolor thing. It's not going to leave marks. It's not going to be an issue. It's going to continue to work while you leave it alone. Right? So it does the work for you and you're not like, just spray it and it does the job.
I use it on the bathroom all the time.
I use it on everything. Smelly shoes, my kids' shoes, that and Knockout kills everything. Greatest ever.
Yeah, you don't want to shower?
Oh my goodness gravy. That's disgusting. No, sir, you did not. We got lots of sponsors this week. I'm super excited. Thank you guys. It's because of you, right? It's because of you. I'm still working with Cozy Earth, trying to figure out what's going on there. Frustrating, I think that was sort of like the whole talk that Brock and I had this morning. It's like there's certain things, whether it's app issues that he's having or things with links or what have you that I'm having, and you just want everything to just work. Just work. Government, just work. Don't rob me. Just work. Tell the truth. It's not hard. Shouldn't be. Right? I love you guys. You're the best.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. And if you'd like to join the live broadcast on video, I welcome you to get our app, wendybellradio.com, and then just join the live chat, join the live video stream. We got thousands upon thousands of wonderful people who communicate all day long on this site, and we really do enjoy you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Okay, so I don't normally watch the Grammys. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably the most boring person in the world. I don't listen to music. Very rarely in my car do I listen to music. I usually drive in silence. I talk for a living. I don't need to hear more like blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't relax me. So I'm very unfamiliar with pop culture in terms of, who's singing this and who's singing that. So when it comes to the Grammys, it comes to Oscars, I don't know who the stars are. Like if I'm in the grocery store and I see a People magazine, I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. No clue. And I'm cool with that. That's fine. I find most of them not people I really care about. I don't really think we have shared experiences. And I think the disconnect in Hollywood with Just the ridiculous bent of liberalism is obnoxious. So anyway, when I saw this article at the Gateway Pundit today, I was like, "Aw, what a bummer." Ratings are down, Brock. The ratings are down for the Grammys. I know.
That's my. You can't see it, but I have a surprise face.
I know. It's total shame. Viewership for the Grammy Awards show was way down this year, especially with young people. Well, that's weird. Let's see. The Grammy Awards show this year was an absolute disgrace. I agree. Just what I saw of it.
Wasn't it last year down too?
Yes.
So if it's dramatically down from last year.
Well, it's curious that you should say that, Brock. Billie Eilish insulting the country with her stupid woke comments. Trevor Noah insulting President Trump. You know, the one silver lining for all of course, was that not that many people were watching. In fact, the viewership, to Brock's point, way down. So Fox reports Grammy Awards viewership plummets 20%. I know, like 20% among young adults in final year on CBS. Like, if you're in business and you're down like 3%, that's 5%. You're like, oh my gosh, what 20% in media is cataclysmically terrible. CBS's presentation of the 68th Grammy Awards Sunday night shed significant viewers compared to recent years. The politically charged event that saw several celebrities use the music award ceremony to criticize the Trump administration and Immigration and Customs Enforcement averaged 14 million total viewers, an 11% drop compared to last year, a 20% decline compared to 2024. Wow. When it came to the advertiser coveted demographic of adults 25 to 54, the Grammys averaged 5 million viewers compared to 5.7 million last year for a 13% decline. And the event also dropped 19% among adults 18 to 49, 10% of viewers at least 55 years of age or older. Those numbers were down as well. Look, I don't care. I don't really care what people who are celebrities think. I don't care about the red carpet. I've never been impressed by it. It is what it is, right? They have a job, and the only difference really between their job and ours is they get a lot more money, and we watch them and we listen to them do their jobs. That's it. In my mind, it's not that impressive. So, and if you want to be political about stuff because you show how ill-educated you are when you do, okay. Well, comedian Adam Carolla had a great take on it on his show, and I think it's fantastic. He's like, look, what you watch when these people get up and accept their awards, you have to realize that they're all in this big club. It's not necessarily a cult. It is a club, and the club is it's a big bunch of insecure babies who have a lot of money and so have some semblance of value, but are inherently extraordinarily insecure. And they're worried that they're going to get kicked out of the club if they don't use their moment with the live microphone to say something, to take a jab that they believe is what is wanted in the club. They don't want to get kicked out. Adam Carolla, audio soundbite number 1, it's all about a pressure campaign.
If those people started saying we support Trump, guess who's out?
Yep.
You are out. And if you support ICE, you're out. And if you're not down with Black Lives Matter, out. And you're not wanting to free Palestine, you're out. So it's all out. So they understand. So then they get up there and they go, this is a group that I don't want to be shunned from or tossed out. So they all know it. And they all know what the subjects are. Mm-hmm. Here's COVID. Yeah. Shutting down schools. For it. Good. Wearing a useless mask. For it. Good.
Getting a job.
Getting experimental vaccine. Multiple times. Experimental. Just say yes. Good. Okay. 6 foot distancing. No signs behind it. You're for it. Good. Shutting down churches. Good. How about Black Lives Matter rallies? No. We're for those. Those are fine. We can keep going with those. Mm-hmm. Okay. Whatever the subject, you guys, here's what it is. And this will prevent you from getting kicked out of the club.
This will prevent you from getting kicked out. You want to be here. You know what? George Clooney kind of danced on that line, right? He did an event with Julia Roberts, a fundraiser for Joe Biden. Joe Biden was an absolute zombie apocalypse. George Clooney saw it, was like, oh my gosh, said something, and people were like, oh, what? You can't say that. Here's Nicki Minaj. She's saying, giving you the big middle finger, saying, I can tell the truth because I've got eyes. And I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to be me. And I'm going to tell the truth. And if you want to run interference for your own insanity, that's on you. But, 1 million fewer people this year wanted to hear it than last year at the Grammys. So that kind of matters. Adam Carolla continues and he says, look, these stupid awards shows are the perfect venue to pledge your wokeness before your peers. If you've ever wondered why Hollywood schmucks are always aligned on all of the wrong issues, this is why. They don't want to get kicked out of the club. How sad.
Now, we're going to have an award show. And you get up there, and whoever praises whatever your policies are the loudest, and by the way, we hate Trump. So you got to say something about him and then something great about Black Lives Matter or whatever that thing is. Whoever does that the best is going to stay in the club the longest. So now you have a decision to make. You can do one of three things. You can either go up there and do ice out and nobody's illegal, you'll be fine. But you can either do that, or you can go up there and just be neutral, not say anything, but that will make people wonder if you should be in the club. Mm-hmm. Or you can touch that third rail and say you love ICE and you love Trump, in which case you're 100% out and you're going to get booed off the stage. So what do these people do? And then people go, I don't get it. Like, how do they all believe the same thing? Mm-hmm. Like, how did they all end up in the same place with COVID? How they all know that ivermectin was horse paste? How they all against, by the way, ICE and Border Patrol, who was doing their thing under Obama like gangbusters? Why are they all in the exact same place all the time? And the answer is they're not. They don't want to be thrown out of the club, so they get the marching orders. And they want the people to cheer.
This is why I say they're clone troopers, right? Let's all do the same thing. How sad. These are the people who are out there producing music and trying to talk to us and share messages. Believe me, look at me, pay attention to me. Oh, look at me. Oh, yes, what do you think about me? Me. And they're the weakest, most insecure, spineless dopes. It's your media, right? These people suck. How about this? The Washington Post just announcing laying off 1/3 of its staff. Say what? This headline, oh my goodness, eliminating entirely its sports section, several foreign bureaus, and its books coverage in a widespread purge that represented a brutal blow to journalism and one of its most legendary brands. No. Excuse me, no. People aren't buying the garbage that you're selling. People don't want to be lectured to at the Grammys. They want a voyeuristic escape, maybe to your extravagant lifestyle. They don't need you to browbeat them. You don't have to finger wag them. They don't care about your politics. They might want to see what gown you're wearing. They might want to see the live performance. They might want to do something other than that. And now people are done. The Post's executive editor, Matt Murray, called the move painful but necessary to put the outlet on stronger footing and to weather changes in technology and user habits. That's code for, oh, snap. Nobody trusts us anymore. We can't be everything to everyone, he said. Really? Well, you can be one thing to everybody, and that could be honest. See, because this is the part that they don't understand. That actually is way more marketable. It's way more wanted. I don't need a fantasy. I don't need you to browbeat me with stupid stuff, and I don't need you to propagandize me with fake news. I don't need you to create false stories or to run interference for people who are bad actors and should be called out. I just kind of want the truth. Does that make me old-fashioned? Am I so yesterday? It is weird. It works here. The truth. You might not like it, but it's not negotiable. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I want to talk to you a little bit about, well, let me regroup. I want to talk to you a little bit about a big controversy happening right now, okay? The details next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. The controversy is pretty simple. I didn't choose a section here for 215 or for the bottom of this segment.
Yeah, I just realized that.
So I didn't have it. I had nothing. I could have
Did you see
used
me
that.
going through my garbage?
I'm like, what? What did I have? What did I do? Yeah, I don't know. You know what? This is really awful. This Savannah Guthrie thing. Her mom. People are gross. What do we want to talk about, Brock? We've got 4 minutes to figure it out. I tried to cover. I'm like, I've got big news for you. I don't know what it is yet. I forgot to plug something into this position.
Fulton County, Georgia, just filed a court motion to reclaim the 2020 ballots seized by the FBI.
I saw that. Let me tell you guys about bodybyAim360.com. I told you yesterday, and it really is the whole point. It's the 360 thing. It's the whole circle. It's the whole you. It's head to toe, inside, outside. That's how Dr. Dubiak and his team look at you. You're a puzzle. Your puzzle pieces are different than everybody else's. And so your journey to wellness, to reducing inflammation and feeling less joint pain, to sleeping better, feeling less gas, like fewer problems with distress in your gut, right? It's not just about food. It's about your body. It's about how your body changes. As you get older, things completely change. And so to be on top of that and to figure out, why is it I'm not losing weight? Sometimes you need somebody who's like, look, we're going to test your blood. We're going to figure out a meal plan to put you on. You're going to lose the weight, but we're also going to change some things about you and get some nutrients in your system. You're low with this. You're low with that. Let's get you feeling better. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I feel actually quite good. And I'm on a path to losing weight. And the best part of it is, once you understand the plan, you don't have to keep paying for the plan. You've got it forever. So it's not like you're constantly giving them money. You're like, hey, I need help. They're like, let's test your blood. And they've got a deal right now. If you do want the COVID, if you do want like the Ozempic, the GLP shots, and you do want them to be monitored by a medical professional with you, which you should, right? They're going to give you the first month of them 50% off. You're going to get in and out the door that first month for $249 for the shot. That's huge. That's a big deal. This is once weekly, and a lot of people really like that. But if you also want the nutritional stuff, you also want to make sure, like, look, I'm going to lose my cravings and appetite, but I got to eat the right stuff. I got to fuel my body. This is where Body by AIM 360 comes into play. 412-227-9255. BodybyAim360.com. They're awesome. Brock loves Allie.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? That's true. Who doesn't is true. Let's see. What are you finding me here?
Topman Domi Aide, who'll help pick NYC judges and special advisor to law firms accused of massive fraud. And some of the View were named in the Epstein files. Whoopi, 24 times. I'm sure they'll mention that.
Oh, how hilarious. A Newsbusters investigation. Oh, boy. Let me see if I can pull that up. Newsbusters. I love them. You know I love them. This, you know, it's interesting when that Epstein outrage comes back and boomerangs you in the face. So apparently there are multiple members of The View who have been mentioned in the Epstein files. They must be really bad people. They must be guilty of something. They must be involved in trafficking of young women. They know. They need to be fired. They need to be held accountable. See, can you imagine if that's what we did? Because that's what they do. They get an allegation, they get the whisper of something. It's about Trump. It's about something else. Oh, it's all gangbusters. Let's not get a lot of details. Doesn't matter what the details are. All that matters is that we can sting, that we can affect somebody that we don't like. It's usually Trump. Breaking multiple cast members of The View are mentioned in the Epstein files. Like, I don't care. I don't care about The View, first of all. I find them representative of everything about cackling, interrupting, selfish, snotty liberal chicks that I don't like. I don't have them as friends. I don't like them in general. I sure as hell am not going to spend my time watching them on television. And I don't care even that they're mentioned in the Epstein files. I think it's hilarious. I'd love to see them defend themselves when people rightfully are like, you know what? You should be fired just for your name being, well, that's a little extreme. Well, that's what you guys have been asking for. You guys have been pushing the story that Trump is all of these things, and yet now that your name comes out, right? Donald Trump's name comes out a lot in this stuff. Well, no duh. He's a billionaire businessman in New York who oscillated in many of the same circles as Jeffrey Epstein. Does anybody even know what Epstein's business was? What did he do? Where did he make his money? What was the income? What was the deal? I know he was a huge follower of, what was the one guy who ripped everybody off?
Madoff?
Bernie Madoff, right? Madoff was like, come on in, little boy. Let me help you. I'll teach you how to do this. And then all of a sudden, Epstein, who's like, who are you? What are you? So apparently Whoopi Goldberg is mentioned nearly 24 times in the Epstein files. Scandalous. So is Alyssa Farah Griffin, the fake conservative. She's mentioned 20 times. And this was well before, right? She decided to get on the train that Trump lunged for the wheel and all that. Joy Behar mentioned 3 times. Ana Navarro mentioned twice. What do you do with that? I don't do anything with that. I don't care. But it is funny that apparently a Newsbusters investigation has discovered emails showing somebody reaching out to Jeffrey Epstein on Whoopi Goldberg's behalf. I'm going to read you the email again. I think it's funny just because she's such a toxic individual. And it says, it's an email to Jeffrey Epstein saying, Whoopi Goldberg needs a plane to get to Monaco. John Lennon's charity is paying for it. They don't want to charter, so they're looking for private owners. Here's the info. And then it gives all this stuff in need of a private jet in these particular dates. The scheduled jet fell through yesterday, and they're scrambling to get Whoopi over to Monaco. I'm sure the jet owner could attend the whole gala and get fuel reimbursed. Honestly, would you want to offer your plane, your jet? To which point, apparently, Jeffrey Epstein responds, no thanks. Simple as that. No thanks. Shafted. I have nothing to do with you. So even Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile scumbag, right? He didn't like Whoopi Goldberg either. Look, the whole mess of this is ridiculous. I'm still kind of shocked, I've got to be honest with you, about the Washington Post. I'm kind of wondering how this subscription that I pay for, how it's worth the value that I have spent money on. Maybe I should squeeze them a little bit, and I should go back and try to cancel my subscription, to which they'll probably say, wait. Don't do that. Why are you leaving? And then I would say, you know what? I don't really see the value. Well, we'll cut it in half. How about 1 year free? You guys do this with any of your stuff? Mm-hmm. That's where I am. Here's what we're going to do when we come back. So CNN has a panel, and Batya Ungar-Sargon, who has her own show called Batya over on News Nation, she's one of the guests. And it's an Abby Phillip panel at Newsnight. And she's got this attorney on too, named Stacey Schneider, I guess. And she's some whatever she is. And they're basically talking about holding ICE agents accountable, but not the protesters and not the politicians who've called all of these agents Nazis. I want you to hear the absolutely ridiculous, like they devolve into a shouting match because all of the eggs are in the basket of defunding and demonizing ICE so that the illegals stay, as you well know. Boccia calls it out and manages to skewer a Clinton aide in the process who thinks that he's got something fantastic to share and doesn't. Don't go anywhere. Abby Phillip does what she does best, interrupts the conservatives. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You know what's super interesting about that, Brock, is that I saw that when I was printing and I did not stop and go back to investigate. I was listening to Tom Homan before we started the show today. And Tom is in Minneapolis still. And he said that there's been a significant drawdown of ICE agents on the streets of Minneapolis. You want to know why? It's so fascinating how this works.
Less people to arrest?
No, Minneapolis police are allowing ICE agents into the jails to take the people who are criminal illegal aliens directly from jail so they do not have to go hunt them down in the community and cause so many problems. Isn't that amazing how cooperation works, Brock?
Yeah, how about that? How about that? I sent you another article.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you have to read this. Or just a headline.
City of Minneapolis has been nominated by The Nation magazine for the Nobel Peace Prize. That's got to be a joke. No. There's got to be a, let's see, News Radio 1080 KRLD Minneapolis nominated for 2020. That's the dumbest thing I've heard. And it's been a lot of dumb stuff. Minneapolis nominated Nobel Peace Prize. Oh my.
No one asked Brock if it was true.
It's all over the news. I've got a website here that's telling me it's true. Wow. We should just read the article. The Nation nominates Minneapolis for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I'm nominating you. How do I get a form?
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. You're nominating me?
Yeah.
No.
And if you win, we can split the prize.
Is that how it would go?
Well.
Are you freezing?
It is cold.
Wow. Holy moly. All right. Who else? Dr. Rafferty. Dr. Richard Rafferty at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600. And I think it's obviously surgeons need to cut into people. It's what they do. But Dr. Rafferty's job is to prevent you from needing that step. It's to give you that last moment detour on the highway to the operating room. And a lot of us are going to go through this problem where you need a spinal expert. And if you're not on the ball about your discs and about how you feel, if you don't get them looked at, you can get to a point where you're backed up against a wall and you need to have surgery. Dr. Rafferty offers you that off-ramp, and it's called intradisc neutrosis, and it's 98% successful. So it's not even like, well, we don't know if it's going to work. They're like, this works. This works. And they can look at the degeneration of an MRI, your spine on the MRI. They can see all of the various elements and tell if you're a candidate. So if you want to read about it, do, because they'd love for you to get educated. They'd love for you to call. Go to Pittsburgh Disc Institute, Pittsburgh Disc, DISC Institute.com, or call them 412-906-9600. It's always about the people, the people, the people, the people. And the people there are fantastic. Some of this stuff just doesn't make sense to me.
You have to be more specific.
Well, like the woke Olympics are so that you have to be ridiculous. It's like America's Got Talent in reverse. You have to be as ridiculous and obnoxious as possible.
I'm texting you.
Are you professing your undying respect and admiration for me forever?
Yeah.
I don't like him. I don't trust him. Right?
No, but how quickly he turned. Wendy is a young pup. Really?
I am.
What's that make me?
Younger. Right? How did I get out of all of my email? It makes no sense. Because Alan sent me something. He asked Grok if Thune had gotten bombarded. Let's see. Where did he go, Alan?
A lot of sound for the last half hour.
Are you telling me not to dilly-dally? We've got 5 sound bites. Yeah.
No.
Well, in this first segment. And we got a little Harry.
Oh, Harry. I don't know if he fixed his hair or not. Something was up late night. I don't know.
I think he parted it on the wrong side. Either that or he had soft water. You know what? He should have. Harry, I'll be here for you, sweetness. I'll help you.
I mean,
I'm a giver. I'm a lover.
And a misser.
I am in a misser. Totally. I didn't have enough.
Poor Harry.
Radio program. I want to thank you because of many of your efforts yesterday. And this is what one of my friends asked Grok. Was John Thune's office overwhelmed by calls to bring the SAFE Act to the floor? And the answer is, from artificial intelligence, yes. Senate Majority Leader John Thune's office has faced significant pressure from constituents and activists calling for him to bring the SAVE Act to the Senate floor for a vote. And we can tell you right now, Brock just sent me a little blip. Oh, look, here's John Thune feeling a little pressure. And he's appearing on Fox News right now. And he's like, look, we need to pass this in the Senate right now. Dude, that's on you. How about you get that done? Okay? We'll manage everything else. You just get that done. I don't know what y'all do anyway. 91 days off a year, for heaven's sakes. Jeez. I'd be fat, drunk all the time. Just kidding. Maybe not. Anyway, so I wanted to play this series of audio sound bites for you. It's this is CNN going the same way as the Washington Post, announcing these just monster layoffs. And I hate it when people get laid off. But look, the world has changed, you guys. The world has changed, and blame it or credit it. COVID opened our eyes. You got to see a lot of stuff. You started thinking a lot more critically. You started asking more questions. You started being more doubting. You started being less so busy, I can't pay attention, and way more focused on say what. And so the traditional media has been exposed for its suck. People don't want to watch it. They don't want to pay for it. And so they're not. Bing, 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 bing. And Trump said this to Caitlin Collins when he called her basically the snit that she is. You're the reason why people don't watch your shows. So at CNN, we've got Abby Phillip. She's sitting on her panel at Newsnight. And look, arguing with liberals is like negotiating with a toddler. There is absolutely no winning. And so We're going to talk about these protests, what ICE is dealing with. This is Batya Ungar-Sargon, and she's one of the panelists. She's obviously conservative, and she's like, look, you want to blame these agents for how they respond to people who put their lives in danger, who get in their faces, who blow bullhorns in their eyes, who throw rocks at them. Like, you have no idea. We're armchair quarterback is a situation that's never happened before, and it's happening because of the dangerous rhetoric of Democrats and programs such as this that say ICE agents are Nazis. So this is how it started.
Definitely anybody who violated an American's civil rights should be held accountable. Let's all remember the circumstances in which ICE is operating. Today I saw a video of a white protester calling an ICE agent by the N-word repeatedly. Utterly disgusting. We have seen ICE agents plowed into with cars. We have seen them getting sprayed. We have seen them, the whistles. We have seen them being attacked physically. So, the situation is complicated. It is violent. The protesters have been horrible. And as a result, I will tell you, Abby, there was a new Harvard-Harris poll that came out January 28th to 29th. And it found that Donald Trump's approval is down overall. There's only one issue that he's above 50% on, and it's responding to anti-ICE protests in Minneapolis, where he has 51% approval. 73% still support deporting illegal aliens who committed a crime. And as I've been saying on the show for a year now, 52% support deporting all illegal migrants. There was a Signal poll that found that 61% support deporting all illegal migrants.
So she's focused on the facts. Look, these polls, however you believe the numbers, consistently show again and again, this is a strong issue. This is a winning issue. Deport criminals, and a lot of people saying deport them all. Get them out, all of them, right? To which point the selective outrage begins. This is where things go sideways, and the liberals literally cannot stop themselves. She's going to get interrupted. Abby, always 93%. Interrupts her conservative guests and talks over Batya. And all you're going to hear from Abby Phillip, the host, is saying that ICE is violating the protesters' constitutional rights. There is no constitutional right or any right at all of ICE agents not to be in danger, not to be killed, not to be injured, not to be hurt. But there is this overarching responsibility on their part to, I don't know, let the protesters get away with murder? Listen.
Now, it is true that Americans want ICE to be a little bit friendlier and a little bit less aggressive.
I think what they're asking is for them to respect
that deporting violent criminals
rights
often gets messy.
I actually don't even think this is about friendliness.
Such an organized operation,
I think it's about
including
people's constitutional
violent terrorism against these ICE agents.
People's constitutional rights. I think you have a constitutional right to not have your life hassled every time some whack job lefty needs a smokescreen to cover up for their theft, fraud, and abuse. I think about that, Abby. What about you? I'm really worried about people's constitution. They're able to do what they're doing. Can you not see that it's rabid? It's lunacy. It's a bad look on everybody. It's George Floyd 2.0. It's obnoxious, and you're going to lose this fight. Abby, she doesn't. So this is where criminal defense lawyer Stacey Schneider jumps in, and she's like, look, I've never seen ICE agents behaving like this before. Well, have you seen them getting attacked like this before? This is the genius.
Sure. No one is in favor of anyone in this country attacking a law enforcement officer. But what you're seeing now,
some of those people were pardoned on the president's first day in office by the president.
Okay, that's another subject. What you're seeing now, based on my experience being around ICE as a defense lawyer, this is ICE 2.0. I have never seen ICE behave this way. I was used to seeing ICE 10 or 15 years ago in the courthouses in New York City. They were known, they were accepted, they patrolled around the courthouses. If somebody was here illegally and they were convicted of a crime, ICE would pick them up. That's
because
ground.
they got cooperation from the local law enforcement.
But the point now is the behavior.
Let me
finish my point because you made yours. The behavior now that we're seeing from ICE in Minnesota and likely elsewhere is not how ICE typically behaved. And you can say, well, people are protesting and people are spraying
violently,
and they're not allowed
protesting
to do that. Violence is not acceptable, but protesting is acceptable.
It is. I agree.
The First Amendment, you are allowed to gather on the sidewalk and you can scream any dirty name you want.
But
on
you're
a
saying ICE has never behaved this way. Has it ever faced this kind of violent opposition?
Any dirty name you want at a law enforcement officer. You have not committed a crime. You have exercised your First Amendment rights, no matter how unpleasant you think it is. The way ICE is behaving now is not what anyone should expect from their law enforcement.
Well, it's interesting because some of these protesters in Minneapolis called a black ICE agent a house N. Yesterday, what are you, the house N? Oh, it's such compassion, kindness, love, and concern from the left in Minneapolis. I don't know what dreamscape this broad is living in, but look. If anyone's free speech rights, are violated, they say, they should be held accountable. Liberals are not listening to Batya as she still jumps in and says, look, you can't say that what these agents are going through has ever been experienced before. They jump all over her. Listen.
Just want to reiterate, if there were civil rights violations, I do think people should be held accountable. It's extremely important. But I don't think ICE has ever faced this level of objection, obstruction, violent resistance. And I think to take that out of the equation when judging how they're behaving, of course we should hold law enforcement to a higher standard. If you hold a weapon and you are licensed by the government to use that weapon, that is a huge responsibility, and we want them to operate in every moment at the highest standard. But to take away the situation in which they are operating, which is a first, I think is kind of, it's not fair, and it's not an objective analysis of what they're
a chicken or an egg kind of situation.
Exactly.
It's really not a chicken or an egg. Don't throw frozen bottles of water at people, specifically not ICE agents. How hard is this for you idiots to understand? Are these people all auditioning for the club that Adam Carolla speaks of? I don't know, but you got to hear this. Finally, just to ensure you're now dumber. This is former Clinton White House aide Keith Boykin alleging that Donald Trump is the one who made ICE political. So agents should expect pushback because that makes sense.
ICE is now operating in a context where the president has politicized them. That's never happened before. 10 years ago, ICE had a $6 billion budget.
The Democrats politicized them by calling them the Gestapo and calling them Nazis day in and day out.
You know, sometimes the behavior warrants a label. Sometimes behavior.
Do you think
whatever word you want to call it, it's
I'm sorry,
damn awful. It is horrific.
Wait, can I just finish what I want to say?
It's not acceptable not to address it. It's not acceptable. Go ahead.
For us to sit here and say that they are like the Nazis,
would you please stop monopolizing the conversation for a second?
Citizens.
Whatever the word is,
they're trying to deport non-citizen
It's not the point of the word. And should we call them Nazis or thugs or this and that?
It's
the behavior of ICE
reason they use the word Nazi to politicize it. That is why they use that word.
You know what they're not talking about right now? Fraud. Right? Fraud. They're not talking about the theft of tens of billions of dollars. And they're also not talking about Megan Bowes, who was killed and decapitated by a guy who was in this country illegally from Mexico. And this is Megan's mom, who wants you to know that the damage from some criminal illegals is real and it will never go away.
When they discovered her at his home, they, of course, arrested him. They took him in for questioning. He was charged with 4 Class 4 felonies. He was allowed to go back to his home in less than 24 hours after being arrested. And he walked past me, and I took my chance, and I yelled out, Mr. President, Mr. President, and he looked at me. And in 10 seconds or so, I just spilled out as much as I could to tell him what had happened. And that this man was walking free. He turned back to me and he pointed his fingers and he said, watch what happens. I hate that ICE is being treated the way they are. Please hold strong. Please keep doing it. Please don't give up. I know for me, I'm so grateful that you're doing it. And there's so many people who are so grateful that you're there doing that. Every crime that is committed by somebody who does not belong here is a crime that could have been prevented. It didn't have to happen.
So a mom makes her way to Washington for an opportunity at an event to grab the president's ear for 10 seconds. And she says, he killed my daughter. He decapitated my daughter. And he said, watch what happens. That guy is in a federal ICE custody. He's in ICE custody right now, waiting trial for killing that woman's daughter. I wonder why Newsnight isn't talking about that. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, a little Harry Enton to wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen, and what he has is not complicated. It's what voters want and have wanted for years. Next. And the rest of that mom's soundbite was horrible. She's like, we kind of did like this neighborhood thing where we fanned out and I knocked on his door. Her daughter was inside that dude's house. I don't know, dead or alive, when she and other people were canvassing the neighborhood, knocking on doors. Can you imagine that? But what are we not talking about? We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the fraud. We're not talking about the tens of billions of dollars. We're not talking about Obama. We're not talking about the Clintons, about what Hillary did. We're not talking about any of that stuff. And it's so interesting because the media do not cover it at all. The whole Crossfire Hurricane thing, Tulsi Gabbard coming out with incontrovertible evidence that Obama and all this, they all concocted it and they had this big powwow. Zero, crickets, no coverage, didn't happen, didn't exist. So Crimea River, Washington Post. People are done being lied to. Tired of it. It shouldn't be complicated, right? I can't imagine. And so now you've got Savannah Guthrie's mom. If you've ever paid, I don't pay attention to her. I don't watch the news. But to have your mom, who's living in Arizona, I believe, being abducted, and then apparently there's some like Bitcoin ransom. Apparently the kidnappers, Savannah Guthrie's from NBC, kidnappers, I guess, have some ransom demand that they make public at TMZ. Like, what a weird world are we in? This is just so weird. Bitcoin is now it's not like a drop by the mailbox, downtown. It's, I want Bitcoin and you've got to transfer it into this account. Blah, 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 blah. And if you do not respond, why Savannah Guthrie's mom, though? That's just so weird. Brock, have you paid any attention to that?
I saw that the husband of the sister is a suspect. So who knows? It sounds like a family type thing. Like you said, why Savannah Guthrie?
Well, yeah, why her mom? And then you're like, and I was opining at the gym yesterday. I'm like, well, maybe Savannah was working on some story and the cartels or something. And I'm like, they don't work on stories. There's no actual journalism going on. And I was like, you dumbass. I was like, that's so stupid, because everybody in the gym was like, what? You think she's working on a story? Who's working on stories anymore? No.
It sounds like someone in the family, and this is just me speculating, knowing what she's worth and what they think they can get, right? Like, money-wise. It just...
Even if Savannah Guthrie's making $1 million a year, which who knows if
I
she is
heard she's worth like $40 million.
Was she ever a member of Congress?
No, she'd be worth more if that was the case.
Right? I have to get more on The View being mentioned.
Wait.
The View.
We haven't hit 3K yet. Come on, 40 people. Let's go. 40 people. 40.
If we could get 1,000 people after the fact, and we get something like 40 to 50,000 views after we're done, if 1 out of every 50 would click the Rumble button, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to click for me? Maybe. We got John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, saying we've got to pass the SAVE Act. Who's the guy who could bring it to the floor and get the whole process started? You know what we could also do? We could nuke the filibuster, John. You could grow a pair and do one of something that was actually memorable and worthwhile, because if you don't, we're not going to win another election. This guy has got to know what's at stake here. Deep state suck. Do the right thing, John, once in your life. Your grandchildren are watching. There is a World Book Encyclopedia with your name. We don't want it to have the asterisk of doom next to it that says disgraced. I don't trust that guy at all. Okay, Harry Enton, I do want to show you some of him. And he's like, look, this isn't a big deal. I don't know why we can't get this thing across the finish line. Voter ID, it is what people want. It's been what people have wanted for years and years. Look, there are a lot of issues that we can sit and debate, and we can look at majorities or pluralities or whatever the pollsters want to say. But look, when you're over 55 or 60%, you've got a literal landslide on your side. And the numbers here are much better. Here's Harry Enton talking about the American voters' desire for voter ID dating back almost 10 years.
All this polling on the screen going back since 2018, you'll notice on all of it, it's all north of 75%, 76%, 76%, 76%. 81%, and then 83% in the last year of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj. They favor photo ID to be able to vote.
What about by party? What's the party breakdown?
Yeah, normally you might expect, hey, there'd be a big divide by party with Republicans really for it and Democrats really against it. But not really here. I mean, just take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. You got 95% of Republicans, pretty much all of them, but even 71% of Democrats favor photo ID to vote. So again, Nicki Minaj posting that on X, and what you see is that the American people, actually, it's not really all that controversial. The American people are with Nicki Minaj, whether they are Republican or even if they are Democrats. We're talking about 7 in 10 Democrats agreeing with Nicki Minaj that you, in fact, should show a photo ID to vote.
So 30% of Democrats, according to that poll, are against requiring voter ID for whatever reason. And I doubt they could really espouse it. Well, they would say to you, oh, it's discriminatory. Oh, not everybody can get it. Oh, they're trying to silence people. And it's like, wait a minute. All of the things that you already know you need an ID for, it makes absolutely no sense. You know better. 30% of the Democratic Party is destroying this country. And those 30% auditioned on the Grammys, right? Those are the 30% that are represented by The View. Those are the 30% who read the Washington Post. 30% is not the majority. And we have to stop acting as though it is. Because these insolent crybabies have gummed up so much stuff. And Harry goes on and he's like, look, what about support for voter ID by race? It's not even close. What are we doing, Senator Thune?
Okay, what's the racial breakdown on this, right? Because I think a lot of people make the argument that people of color, non-white Americans, have a harder time procuring a photo ID to vote. But even here, take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
The vast majority, however, is not represented by your United States Congress. And that's the point. When do we get the representatives we want. Why don't we limit the length of the terms? And so if you are a bad actor, if you are a nefarious deep state scumbag, well, there's only a limited number of years that you can possibly infect this country. Instead, what we have is a rotting cesspool. And it's not the swamp, it is the sewer. And the sewer smells like, well, you know. Hope you come back tomorrow. Thanks for spending time with us on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Love you guys. Peace.